Mine says off air. How do we see comments? Because
We're on.
We're on. Oh, okay. Hi.
I'm not sure how we see comments, but we'll figure it out.
Mine still says off. Oh no, it says live. Okay. I was just a bit delayed.
Perfect. Right.
Yeah,
Hi guys.
I don't see comments. Sorry. Go.
It's starting as we mean to go on. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought I would try and do a live show, which I've done once before on my channel, but about 2 years ago. So I haven't done one for ages. And I thought to ease my way into sort of discovering how to do them again, I would invite two of my I would invite two of my friends on. You probably know them, I'm guessing. But I'll let them introduce themselves, so go for it. Whoever wants to go first, you can fight it out.
Elena, you can go first.
Oh, I was just about to say you could go first. Do you want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay, I'm Elena. Really, I'm quite an eclectic reader. I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy. I read a lot more, probably YA, science fiction and fantasy. I read a bit of contemporary, a bit of general fiction, a bit of literary fiction. I'm quite across the board. So that's me.
I was about to say I'm Mercy's Bookish Musings. I'm not. I'm Mercedes, and my channel is called Mercy's Bookish Musings. And I'd say I read across the board, but then I say that and there's things that I don't read. So I feel like I read a fair amount, but perhaps I don't read genre fiction as much. Probably the only genre fiction I read is fantasy. And apart from that, it's more like general fiction, I think, probably.
And sort of obscure fiction, I think.
Yeah, weird, like magical realism.
That's a nice
stuff.
way of saying.
Yeah, like magical realism.
That's a way of saying highbrow fantasy.
Weird stuff, yeah.
Speculative.
Yeah, I guess so.
I've got the comments up, by the way, so I can see the people in the chat now. I've got them on my phone,
okay, cool.
So don't you worry. We've got them. There's quite a few people there,
hi.
Which is exciting. So thanks, guys, for joining us. You probably already know me, but I tend to read mostly science fiction and fantasy, predominantly fantasy, epic fantasy in particular. But yeah, if you've come over from Mercedes' channel, because she a bit earlier, then see, this is unedited now. I can't edit that out. Normally I would. But yeah, if you come over from Mercedes' channel or Elena's channel, then hello and welcome. So we're going to be pretty casual. It's not very formal here. We're just going to chat about some books we're planning to read. And when I said to the girls, like, hey, I want to do a Friday Reads, can we choose some books? Are you laughing because I called you girls?
No, I'm laughing because I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I said, let's do a Friday Reads. And both of them go, so how many books are we allowed? What's the maximum that I can bring onto this live show? And of course, we've all ended up with about 7, I think. So yeah. You're in for a ride, guys. Welcome.
I think a lot of mine, though, that you girls, I reckon at least 50% you girls would have read, or at least one of you would have read. So it'd be quite good because you can tell me how good or bad it is.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Okay. So do you want to start, Eleanor? Give us one of your ones.
No, you go first. Your channel, you go first.
Me? Okay. I'll do what I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading this book, which is Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb. It is huge. I actually got this in the post today because I never had owned a copy until today. I ordered one the other day. I thought
I don't have a copy.
I should probably get one, and now I have one.
Where does that fall then? Where's that? What book's that in? What little trilogy thingy?
This one is the 3, 6, 9, 13, 14, 15th.
Is it the very last one before the next one coming out?
Yeah.
Or is it?
So I am rereading it.
Yeah, we're both rereading, but Caitlin's ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm on this book. Yeah. But yeah, I only started it today. I'm audiobooking it mostly on my commute, and I'm loving it because it's Robin Hobb. And there's been a few moments where I've been at work and I've been doing some work and listening to my audiobook. Don't worry. And I've had a few moments where I've just welled up with tears. It's been a bit emotional.
Well, I was then going to say, I won't say what happens because I don't want to spoil it for people, but I know Caitlin said to me the other day, I was walking home earlier from the shops and I listened on audio to that scene, and full on sobbing. Was walking down the street, had tears streaming down my face, and a guy cycled past me, and he looked like he was about to stop and check if I was okay, and I was just like, oh, so embarrassed. I just couldn't stop it.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, it's
Is it
just
the
so
main
emotional.
character from the very first book that we're following in this one?
Yeah.
Not that I'm really that
Yeah,
fussed, because I
fits.
didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm like the only person in the world that wasn't that keen on the book. I still haven't got to the second
But
live
you
ship
like the other
traders one.
ones, so
I read one, and then I was
That's
like,
yeah.
that's too much effort.
well, at least you've liked one and you've not liked
You've
one. That's
tried.
like a good average overall.
I've got the second one on Mad Ships or whatever on audio, but I haven't got around to it yet. It's quite a commitment, I think. Like,
Yeah, they're big.
they are big.
They are big.
So
Sorry.
how far are you through that one at the moment?
I've literally just started it, so I'm on like chapter 3 or something, so I'm not very far.
I love it. Normally you say, I've literally just started it. I'm only about 500 pages through.
When I say literally, I mean like I'm an hour into the audiobook or something. I'm not far.
Yeah.
And I listen on 3 times speed, so I'm 20 minutes into the audiobook. Not far. But yeah, I'm loving it. And yeah, that's my current read. So I'm not reading anything else at the moment except that, really. So now
Are you going to
guys
read that on
can
its
go.
own, or are you going to add other stuff in, or you
Oh,
just...
I'm going to add other stuff,
Okay.
as you will
Yeah,
see.
because I don't think I've ever known you to just read one thing at a time.
Well, it's because I finished 4 yesterday. I finished, because it was Tome Topple finished yesterday, and I was like, I'm determined to get all these in. So I finished Saint's Blood, which is the 3rd in the Greatcoat series. I finished The Hallowed Hunt, which doesn't count for Tome Topple because it's only 497 pages and not 500.
Oh, fucking hell no. Count that bad boy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know, and some of the other
Nah.
books I read were like 800 pages, so I've averaged more. But I finished
Yeah.
that one, and I finished Fool's Assassin, which is the first Robin Hobb one, so they all counted.
So did you do?
and
How many
then
did you do for Tome Topple? Did you do 4?
well,
That's
5
really
if you count the
good.
Hallowed Hunt, so which I'm going to
Blimey.
maybe count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
That's
good.
really good.
I really enjoyed it actually. It's good to get some of the bigger books off my shelf, which is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, I ignore bigger books.
Mine was meant to
What
be
are you doing?
Middlemarch, but I DNF'd it.
Yeah, you didn't like it, did you?
It's just really boring. I think I'm going to watch the BBC drama. Fair play to her. Janet read the whole
Did
thing.
she read it? Oh wow.
Yeah, she did. She continued,
Did she
even
like
though me
it?
and Tracy bailed on her.
Oh.
She did. I think she said it at the end. In the end, it was really worth it. So I have got the BBC 6-parter or 4-parter or whatever, and I've watched the first 2 parts. So maybe I'll watch it on TV instead.
Sorry, I was laughing over a comment. Carry on. I'm like having 2 conversations, and with you
I
guys
can't
and with
see
my.
the comment.
Well, if
Tell
you
us
get
what
my
the
video
comments are.
up, if you get my video up on your phone,
Okay.
then it comes up with the comments. That's
Oh,
all I've done.
Okay,
So
that's what
I'm
I'm
watching
doing.
Then we
myself.
have to-
I've just got no
mute.
sound on. Yeah, mute the video, otherwise
I don't know how to do it.
doubles.
Yeah, it has a
What do
mute.
you mean?
Just turn your volume down.
If I turn it
Just
off
turn
on
the
my
volume down on your
phone,
phone.
I'm not very good with technology, guys.
So go into your phone, find the video, the live video.
Yeah, I'm now gonna click on the video.
Okay.
I can't find the live video though. Where is it?
Well,
Muted.
it's there.
Is it a new one?
Yeah, if you just go to my channel, it should pop up.
The newest
It's in
one
my
I've got up is
subscription.
LGBTQ plus.
No, if you go
No,
in
I've got it
your
on my
like
subscription.
live feed or something, your subscriptions, then it should be there.
The comments aren't there for me.
Oh,
though.
I see.
on the
I
video.
see.
Oh, well, I've got them. Look, there they all are.
Oh, blimey, we're all on the screen. It's really weird watching it in double. Live
And they
chat.
also look, they pop up
Oh, I've
like
got
this
it, I've
on
got
my
it.
phone. That's quite
Hi,
cool.
James.
But yeah, I was laughing because people were talking and I was looking at my shelves.
I got
and
it too.
Anyway, excellent. Now we're good. Mercedes, you'll just have to play along. Pretend you've
Oh
got
no, I found it. You have to press a little
excellent.
arrow.
Yeah.
So none of us
it's
are going to
down at
talk
the
to each other
bottom.
now. We're just going to sit and look at down on the
Yeah.
screen.
I'm bored of you guys.
Technology. Right. So yeah,
Mercedes,
that's
you
what
go
I'm
next.
reading right now.
Okay.
What are you reading right now, Mercedes?
I started this a few days ago. It's Neon Green by Margaret Wappler. I'm only like 50 pages
What a
in.
name.
Yeah, and it's about 300 pages. I've got my favourite bookmark in. Can you see this?
Oh, I love
It's a
it.
unicorn.
So good, isn't it? And it's, I guess, like like literary sci-fi. So there's a sci-fi element, but that's not really the important thing. It's set in 1994 in suburban Chicago, and it's the exact same world we live in, but you can enter a lottery to have a spaceship from Jupiter land in your back garden.
Sounds good.
Where
Sounds
did you
good.
find this? I love it. You always get these things like, oh yeah, it's just set in a normal time. It's like literally, oh yeah, but you know, spaceships and Jupiter.
It sounds really good. And so the son enters this lottery without his parents knowing, and the spaceship's just landed in their garden, and the parents are really pissed off because they're like eco warriors, and so they don't want this spaceship dumping all this toxic stuff in their garden.
Why do you want to have why do you want to enter a lottery to get a spaceship in your garden?
Exactly. So that's sort of the question, is that no one knows what the benefit is. Basically, we made contact with these aliens from Jupiter years and years and years ago, and the government know there's basically these aliens want to observe human life, and so the government have come to an agreement where they've said, okay, well, you can sit in people's back gardens but never leave the spaceship and don't ever interact with people.
What?
So they'll just land in your garden. You can't see into the spaceship, you can't see
but
people,
they can see you. Oh,
they're watching you, and every now and again a spaceship makes a noise or whatever and just doesn't do anything, and it just stays there for like a year or so, I think. And so it's just started. Family are like freaked out because there's just this spaceship in their garden, sort of thing.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's quite intriguing.
Yeah, good choice. Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It seems quite good so far. So it's quite funny as well as like quite comic, with the dad's like really annoyed about the spaceship, and yeah, it's quite good.
That's good. Nice. Cool. We'll have to let us know if it's not too creepy.
Yeah.
Eleanor, go for it. Tell us what you're reading.
Well, I'm gonna, both out of both of your comfort zones here. I'm reading a bit of YA contemporary at the moment. I'm reading this one called Joyride, which I think the cover totally misrepresents what it is. I mean, it is a YA contemporary, but if you look at this, you just think, oh, summer romance. There's a love interest. Well, there is love, but there's it's a story about a girl they live on the border of Mexico, and her parents were in this car crash like 3 years previous and got deported because they were illegally in the country, but they didn't tell them, the officials, when they got deported, that they had 2 kids. And so her and her brother, she's now 17, her and her brother are living in this sort of trailer park where they lived before, and they're working any jobs they can get, as well as her going to school to try and save money to like illegally smuggle their parents back into the country. And since their parents have been taken from the country, they've had 2 more kids, which they've never met their siblings, which is really weird. So you've got that side of it, and then you've got this boy whose dad's the sheriff, and is incredibly, like, his dad is incredibly racist, and he had a sister with schizophrenia, so you've had that in there, who has committed suicide, and and he's gone off the rails, and he tries to drag her into his stuff, and she's just trying to stay under the radar. It had way more like heavy topics in it so far than, I mean, there is a bit of the love interest going on, and we're probably going to reach the sort of the big dramatic ending at some point, but it's been I don't know why, I've just been really slumpy. All I've wanted to do is watch Netflix, and even now I'm thinking, oh, there's a new Netflix show called Girl Boss that's just come onto Netflix. Have you seen it?
No, I've seen the adverts for
really
it. Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, I haven't even heard of it.
It's just half-hour episodes. There's 13 of them, and it's I can't remember who the girl is that plays the main character, but she's really into. I think it is like, I'm not sure if it's a fictionalized of the Girl Boss. Is the woman that wrote the Girl Boss, is she in fashion?
Yeah, she created a clothing brand.
Well, that is what this is. I think it's a fictionalized story of that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So she sort of sets up this buying these clothes, I think, in like charity shops, and then like setting up these shoots to make them look really cool and fashionable, and then selling them through on eBay and stuff, and then she eventually sets up her own line, I think.
Oh, okay, that probably is.
But yeah, I've just been a bit slumpy, and I haven't wanted to read, and I've found that contemporary romance, it's been the only thing that's sort of like YA contemporary has been the only thing that's sort of drawn me in a little bit. I've tried a few books and put them down. So.
That one sounds like it's a bit more than just the average. So that's good.
Yeah, it's got some good topics in there. How they deal with it at the end will be interesting, because sometimes they do all these great topics and you feel like they're doing it really well, and then all of a sudden at the end, like, oh, everyone lived happy ever after, and you're like, well, that's not very realistic, is it?
That's kind of why I have a slight prejudice against them sometimes, but let me know if it's any good. I'm not
I will
adverse to
do.
trying it, potentially.
I'll make you try it.
Yeah, I am asked to try it.
Yeah, I felt that.
That's all right.
Okay, next one. So from here on out with me, they're all books I'm planning to start this weekend, which is ambitious. I don't intend to finish them all, but we got the cozy reading night this weekend, so that's
Yes.
something, which is
I
hosted
haven't
by
included
Lauren.
them. So I've
What
got
you
7
doing?
plus them. What am I? Oh dear.
You just added more. So yeah, we got that on Sunday, so I'm guessing we're all going to be doing that. That's run by Lauren from Lauren and the Books, and it's between 7 and 10 British summertime, so I'll put a link to her video if I remember. Otherwise, go and look up Lauren and the Books. You'll find it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's happening, so we're going to
Sorry,
do
just
that.
waving at my husband. Come in to bring me a drink. Thank you very much.
That's very nice.
They can't see your thumb. He was giving you a thumbs up.
Excellent.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to find my. Sorry, I can't find this TBR. Oh, we'll ignore it. Right, carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, every other book that I'm going to show you is something I'm planning to start. First one being one that I'm supposed to buddy read with Eleanor, and that is this one, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo.
Don't envy either of you there.
Which is the second one in the series after Six of Crows. It's one of the BookTubers FF, so we need to read it because we're judges. And
I want to read this one. I think this one you're not.
I'm
I
a bit
really enjoyed
I'm
Six
not-
of Crows.
I didn't love Six of Crows. I gave it 2 stars. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's better. I've heard good things about this one, but then I heard good things about Six of Crows as well. And I think maybe
I
it's
gave it
because I
4.
read so much fantasy that when I read a more YA fantasy, I don't like the fact that there's not enough room for the world building that I get in adult fantasy.
I've heard that.
But this
a
is
lot,
quite
yeah.
a big book. So
Should have read.
It's got pictures
Maybe.
in it, hasn't it? Do you know it's got pictures in it?
I think they're just like patterns rather than pictures.
Well, they've got these each part, like there's these things at the beginning of chapters, by the looks of
Yeah,
it, and then
these
they've got like
things.
these
So,
part markers. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe look, if it's done in parts,
I don't think they're
maybe
really
we can do it
pictures.
in parts. Maybe it's 6 parts. Maybe we could do a part a day or something and just eke it out.
yeah, I've got the audiobook of this one as well, and it's narrated by like a whole bunch of people, which I'm slightly worried about because I do find that I tend to enjoy just one narrator, and I'm a bit worried that I'm going to hate some of them and that'll put me off whatever character it is. But we'll see. I'm, optimistic that
together.
maybe, yeah, we're in it together. Maybe we'll talk about it and it'll be fine. Either we'll have a little rant or we'll
It'd be
love it.
interesting actually, because normally
Maybe.
we're pretty much on the same page, but with this one, I think I gave the first one Six of Crows 4, so this might be one where we differ.
Right.
Where I'm going, this is great, and you're going, no.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get the other
Death
end of
match.
it, Mercedes. I'll be like, oh, Eleanor is so wrong about this book.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about.
I don't trust her
So yeah,
opinion
that's
anymore.
my next one. Next one. We'll attempt it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Normally, when
And
I film a
also, we're
video,
also gonna
I
attempt that one, aren't
just-
we?
well, I'm not attempting that one with you if you've got to get it done in the next week because I got 7 other books. So
Fair
I'm not sure I'm going to have
enough. Fair enough.
Plus, I'm less excited for that one than I am this one. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I can always get
We'll
this
see.
on Kindle, can't I? The other one. If I need to.
Yeah, that's true. Normally, when I'm filming
Nice.
videos, which I feel like I'm doing right now, even though I'm not, I kind of am because it'll stay there. I just chuck my books on the floor, which probably everyone in the comments is going to be like, what? I don't really care about them. I just like throw them down. And I was about to do that. And I thought, oh, I better place it down carefully so that I don't make a noise.
Don't offend anyone.
I cut out the
Don't
bits where I
upset anyone,
throw
so-
my books on the floor.
I sit on the floor,
So do I.
so I don't need to throw. I'm not sitting on the floor now, though.
Excellent. Glad we cleared that up.
Just so you all know.
Oh, okay. Eleanor, go for one. Your next
me,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick one that I think both of you might have read and that you'll have lots to talk about for me. I picked it up from
Okay.
the library today.
Well, this
I've read
looks
it now.
good.
It's
Is that The
Ted
Arrival?
Chiang's.
Stories of your life.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you read it, Mercedes?
Is this his short story collection?
Yeah. Ted Chiang.
No, I saw the film of one of
Have
the
you?
stories,
I haven't seen the film.
and I didn't like it.
Oh no, I've heard
Oh,
great
the
things. You
stories
didn't
are
like
so
it.
good, though. I haven't seen the film, so I don't know how it compares.
But yeah, I want to give the stories a go because I know how much you loved it, Caitlin. But and I know you put it in your giveaway video the other day, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I didn't like the film. I know lots of people did, but you know, I wouldn't say that means I won't like the book because it could be vastly different.
Yeah, I haven't seen the film, so I can't say how it compares. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me. But
I liked the way you described the story, Caitlin, when you talk. I think the Babylon one. You said how much you loved that, and I think that drew me in. And you and Stevie from Stevie's channel, Sable Court.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Stevie when we were at the meetup were chatting about it.
She's not read it yet, I don't think.
Oh, is she not?
No, because I told her about it. So I think.
Oh, maybe that was it. You were talking about it.
She's going to read it soon. But yeah. I'm basically just telling everyone I know that they need to read it because it's like super duper good and I love it. So
I think that's going to be one of my next ones. I think I'm going to get back into doing like multiple books where I have like an audiobook on the go, a short story collection, and maybe like a fiction and something else, because I think that worked quite well because my attention span at the moment is just terrible. What are people putting? They're talking about book tossing.
You like the book and love the film for different reasons, so I'm guessing you can take one or leave one. So hopefully if you didn't like the film, you'll still like the book. Fingers crossed.
Cool. Yeah, so that's one of the next ones I want to pick up because I'm pleased that came in at the library because I'm not allowed to buy books.
Yeah, there's some really nice stories. I do think that you would both like that one actually. And I'm not a big short story collection reader, so it's good. It stood out. It's one of my favourites for sure. I would put 3 favourites: Paper Menagerie, Stories of Your Life and Others, and At the Mouth of the River of Bees. Those are my 3 favorites.
Well that's why all 3 of those. I'm not picking what's it called, Stories of Your Life up yet, because I've got the Paper Menagerie and I feel like I don't want to have 2 big sci-fi collections on my shelf before I've read one of them.
I would say I would say the Paper Menagerie has more sci-fi-ish ones, and I'd say Ted Chiang has some more fantasy, but they both have both.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So I'll read the Paper Menagerie. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think if you like one, you'll like the other as well. So they're quite similar in terms of like just originality and the way they write their stories. So
someone gave up 80% through. Which book are they talking about?
I think the Ted Chiang one, maybe, or Paper Menagerie. Not sure.
I gave up 8% through, 2 stars. Alistair, which book?
I don't know. Drama in the comments. Every book you've mentioned, 1 star. Who are you?
Yeah.
Shall I do my next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Also, Stephanie is asking me in the comments, am I asking for books for my birthday?
When's your birthday? Because I'm a good friend.
Next month.
You're supposed to be my friend.
Aren't we supposed to be buying her something? Probably. The
9th of May. Write that down.
Take note.
It's the week before Jamie's, so I might remember.
If you're lucky.
Well,
you might get some of Eleanor's cast-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have I always have an Amazon wish list for my family because like my brothers have not got a clue what to get me ever, so they always get me books. And some other people might choose to get me books, but I don't know if I'm going to do my usual big overload on books thing. I'm not quite sure, just because my mum will probably want to know what to get me, and I could ask for money for books, or I could ask for books.
Last year you skimped out on this too, though, didn't you? Last year you were like, I'm not going to be as crazy.
Exactly. Well, it's because I went crazy at Christmas. I still got like 50 or 60 at Christmas, and I've barely read any of those. And I just feel like I've got so many books right now that I'm sort of pleased with the amount I've got, and I don't really want to add another sort of 50. So I'll get some, but it's not going to be a giant one. So yeah.
Oh, Alistair says the Chang one. Oh, okay. So it seems to be one that mixes opinion. Well, I shall get you something that's not bookish, maybe then. Maybe I could get you a book and something to go with it. Like
I'm going to get you a book
or something.
I'm going to get you a load of books that I think you're going to give 1 star to, and then I'm going to make you read them all, and I'm going to be like, these are my favourite books ever, and if you don't like them, I'm going to be really angry.
That's just evil. This is the sort of friends I have to deal with on my birthday.
I'm sure I'll get you something.
Yeah, maybe, if I remember.
I'll send you some old books.
I am like the worst at remembering birthdays. Generally, I find out because someone else talks about it, and then I'm like, oh, it's their birthday today. what can I get that gets delivered from Prime on an instant?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you get
It's
charged
really
loads.
terrible. And I should write it down, and I'm sure like I have started that
I'm
at
the
points,
same,
but
though.
I'm just rubbish.
Yeah, I know.
I
I
have
need to calendar or
everyone's
something.
birthdays
I think
in my
it's because
calendar
I
on my
don't care
phone,
about
so they
my
pop
own.
up.
I think like because I don't
Yeah,
make a
I'm
big
a
deal
bit
out of
like that. I'm
mine,
not-
I don't care
yeah.
about it. I just
I
like,
care. I'm still young enough to care about mine.
oh, don't bring the age thing into it. I know
No,
that
I just
don't
don't
like to
care
think I'm getting
about-
older.
I don't care about.
No, I just like the birthday books that I get.
Yeah, I like the gifts, but I don't care about celebrating it. If you know what I mean. Like I don't
Yeah,
care
I've never
about.
been a party person.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
I'm
So
not,
what I'm reading.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Back to reading.
Tangent.
can't
You
wait
did take us on that tangent.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
really care what she's reading, do we?
I can't see it.
You probably won't about this one.
Bring it closer.
I don't need to make a pretty thing.
I feel like
By
Mercedes
Michelle
books we
S.
should be asked to
Reed.
guess what they are, because I think that looks like a pamphlet you might get when you go to the church.
That looks like a poetry pamphlet.
Correct.
Oh,
Church. Yeah, because I've been to church.
Yeah, but it
Last
looks
person
like
you'd
a
expect.
heavenly cover. That looks like one of those sort of
It's like a
pamphlets
Yeah,
you
it
might
does.
get.
Yeah, to be fair.
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's a poetry collection, and I'm about.
Winning!
Yeah, it's only 60 pages. Yeah, it's 60 pages long, and I've read 40 pages, so I just want to read the last like 20 poems. But I find poetry collections difficult because I just don't really know when you're supposed to pick it up. Like, should you read just one and then put it down, or should you read a few, or should you read it all in one go?
I mean,
Like,
you are asking the wrong people. Because I
just-
do
Yeah,
not
because
read
I don't
poetry.
understand poetry, so I would just
Yeah.
read the whole thing and go, what?
exactly. So I don't do that.
That's what I do.
I think if you enjoy poetry, then you should probably read one and then sit and think about like the meanings and the things behind
Yeah.
it and let it ruminate for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But
then
I'm
I end
not
up
a
forgetting about it.
critical reader.
So. But I am liking it. It's good. It's good. So I will
Well,
try and
that's
finish
good.
that this weekend.
Are you feeling all
That
the
sounds
feels
like
with
a-
it?
So do you know, some of them I do, and I really get, and I really think they're beautifully written, and then some of them I'm just like, whatever. Like, it means nothing to me.
But
And
at
I
least
don't
you can
enough.
differentiate.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not understanding them. I just think some of them are just a bit like whatever, if you know what I mean. Like, they're just not
Okay,
as good as the
fair
others. So. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. I would recommend it for someone who doesn't read much poetry. I think they're understandable poems.
That's good.
I felt like she was looking at us there, Kate.
Yeah, I felt like that as well. Quite possibly.
Sally,
she
keep
was.
going.
So
Keep going.
me.
Okay, shall I go for my next one?
Go.
Okay, next one I have is an SF Masterworks, and it's by Maureen F. McHugh, and it's China Mountain Zhang, which both James and Rachel have recently told me
Yeah.
I need to read. So I have decided I'm going to start it. It's quite short. I think it's a sort of dystopia set in the US, and it's about a guy who has to find his cultural heritage and sexual identity. So I don't really know anything else about that, like anything more, but they said it, like the way they described it in their reviews, because they've both done reviews, was really good and made me want to read it. So I decided I would pick it up.
I've not heard of
Bump
that
it up.
before. That's cool.
Well, there you go. You should be watching Rachel's and James's channels. I think they're probably
Oh, you
really
just
offended right now.
I think I do watch
know.
James's channel. I'm not good at watching reviews, I have to admit. I am subscribed to James.
Oh,
But sorry, who was the other person?
Rachel.
Calinardi.
Oh no, yeah, of course. I'm subscribed to Calinardi as well.
See, that
Well, you
sounded
haven't
a little
watched
bit like she was backtracking there, didn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am. But if people do, I don't always watch all the reviews. I have to
That's
admit,
fair.
I hold my hands up, and I know that people don't watch mine because I never really get many like views on my reviews. I still like doing them occasionally, but yeah.
It depends what you like, isn't it? I do a lot of reviews, and I asked on Twitter today whether people would be interested in me doing any interviews, because I've been asked a few times. You guys probably have. Like when you get a book from a publisher, they're like, "Oh, would you
Yeah.
like to interview our author?" And that's what I said on Twitter. I was like, I've been asked this lots of times. I'm really nervous about it. Would you like to see it? And everyone was like, you can do it if you like, but I really watch you for the reviews and like your recommendations. And I was like, that makes me feel really good, guys. Thank you.
You
So
do give good
now
recommendations.
I'm like, yes. Oh, thanks. Do you watch my recommendation videos?
I watch all your videos, Caitlin.
Oh, I watch all yours as
Just
well.
not the reviews.
I don't watch all Mercedes.
No, I even watch her reviews. I just don't watch all reviews, but I do watch hers.
Oh, That's
Yeah.
nice. You
Well, I
make
think
me
you do. I
cry.
think you do them good because I don't think
I do
you're
them
not
good.
overly waffly. You don't make them massive. They're nice length. They're normally sort of 10 minutes or under. And I just
We
think they're a
all
nice
live in
length to be able to
Britain.
watch.
Yeah, we're all in England. Sorry, I'm just responding to a comment who was like, they all sound British. We
Except
are.
you.
Apparently,
Except
I'm
you,
not British.
supposedly.
I didn't see that one yet.
Oh, look, someone
You're
had
fake.
the March Moth box and the March Book Buddy box.
Ooh.
And they loved them both. How do you choose which books you'd like to include?
Oh yeah, go ahead, guys. They actually
Well.
consult me, and I tell them.
We do it very differently, actually. Mercedes does it much
That's
more professionally than me. I go to, because I'm not like a proper business, I go to this great big warehouse near
It's
me,
good.
and they have thousands of books, and I spend nearly a whole day just going round, looking at the books, deciding which ones I like the look of, checking the ratings on Goodreads, and then I decide after that which ones I like the look of, and I try and sort of vary which books that I pick up, and that's how I tend to do it. And then after that, I don't know if it's something that's come recently since starting BookTube, or if it's something I've always had, but I've become a much better at knowing books I'm going to like. So even though you might see on my channel when I do things, like I might give things 2 or 3 stars, I kind of know before I go in that I'm going to give them 2 or 3 stars. But they're generally the ones that I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone, thinking I'll give it a go, because what if it's a surprise? Because there is that one nugget in there that ends up being 5 stars that you wouldn't have touched otherwise. I think it's a shame if you don't. But I'm generally quite good at picking books that I know I'm going to like. And also I think with the Book Buddy box, which is slightly different to the Moth box, is it doesn't matter if not everyone's going to like the books, but if I didn't give it 5 stars or didn't think it was the best thing since sliced bread, it doesn't matter, because I want to promote conversation with people. That was, obviously I want people to like it, so I do try and give them, like, pick books that I'd give 4 stars, but I like ones which have got controversial topics and stuff in as well. Mercedes,
I just realised I had my earphones in the wrong way around.
Did that feel weird?
They were really uncomfortable. They were starting to hurt my ears. I have to email publishers first, publishers I'm interested in, and make sure they'd be willing to be in the box, and make sure that books I'm considering are still in print and there's the right amount of books to do it, because I have a number in mind for each box, and if they can't fulfill that number, then they can't be in the box. Then I have a big selection of books that I then read through and choose the ones that I think are good enough, and then I contact the publishers again and say, you have been selected, blah blah blah, and
you have won a prize.
So I have to speak to them first prior to even reading the book, which is can be not risky, but it's difficult, because I don't want to sort of get people's hopes up if then I read the books and don't like them, but it's just the way it has to be, because there's no point wasting my time reading all these books and thinking, oh, this is great, this is what I want to put in, and then it can't be put in because the publisher can't fulfill the demand or whatever. So it sort of has to work backwards, which is slightly annoying, but it's just how it has to be. So that's how I do it.
That's why you're super uber organised.
No, it's why I'm really not, and why I'm always behind on everything.
But you style it out.
Yeah.
And it's worth it, because the books so far been spot on, I think.
Have you got your next one, Eleanor?
I didn't get the short story one because I thought I'd wait, because you know what I'm like with short
fan,
stories.
Are you?
I really struggle. So
mine came today, and I've done an unboxing, so you'll see that on my channel soon.
Someone wants to know if there's any genres you don't read.
Any genres I don't read? Yeah. Plenty.
Or dislike. They want to know if genres you dislike. Caitlin, any genres that you're just like, no?
Horror and crime. I don't really read most.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really read crime.
Yeah, you don't, do you?
I'm not exactly against it. I just find when I have read crime in the past, the only series I've enjoyed is the Stieg Larsson one, which I know is so mainstream, but I read it quite a long time ago, so I don't know how much I'd enjoy it now. But yeah, I just find, a lot of urban fantasy, they have a sort of crime element to them sometimes, and I find every urban fantasy that has a crime element to it, like it's an investigator or something like that, no, I just hate them. They really annoy me. I think it's this sort of stereotype guy who is this private investigator. I don't like things like that. I'm sure there are plenty of crime books out there that I would like, but I have a stereotype in my head from reading those types of books. And I know my friend reads loads of crime and absolutely loves it. I know Leanne does on her channel. So I watch other people's reviews of crime books. I just have not managed to convince myself to pick them up yet, even if they sound amazing. I'm still like, yeah, but I wouldn't like it. So maybe it's something I just need to break out of.
Or maybe it's just
crime, horror.
Horror.
I don't read much contemporary. I dip in here and there, but not much. Literary I don't read very much of, although when Mercedes recommends one to me multiple times, I'll consider it, and that's about it for my criteria.
When she badgers you, does she have to mention it at least 5 times?
It, then I won't get it. So, because I know that Mercedes knows what I like, so I'm like, okay or not, sort of thing. So I trust you, but I don't trust many other literary reviewers enough. I like watching their channels, but I don't trust them enough to buy it. I just bought one that you recommended. It's in my latest book haul.
Oh, how exciting.
I won't say what it is, but
Keep it a secret.
Right.
You'll have to wait.
What about you, Mercedes?
I'll give you a clue. It's by Lionel Shriver.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So yeah, I think that's it. Probably everything else.
I'm fairly similar to Caitlin, perhaps. I don't ever read horror. Do you know what? I feel like I'm willing to have an exception to every rule.
Yeah, that's true.
I just feel like perhaps there isn't anything in horror that's pulled me in. And the problem I have with sort of, I guess, genre fiction like horror and crime is the tropey nature of it. So if there was, you know, I read the blurb of a horror book and it sounded really like my sort of thing in terms of style and atmosphere, and didn't sound like it had tropes, then perhaps I'd consider it. And the same for crime. It's more for me that I feel like a lot of genre fiction has boxes it needs to tick, and I just don't like that sort of story. So I avoid horror, mystery, crime, contemporary, YA, because I just tend to think that, and I'm sure that isn't the case for all of them, it's just that I'd rather stick to what I know 80% of the time is going to be a good hit rate than take the risk on reading all these other genres and only liking 2 out of 10, and then I've wasted my time. You know, I know there's probably good stuff out there that I would like, but I'm not willing to trawl through all the stuff I wouldn't.
That's true.
You know, so
that's fair. What about you, Eleanor? You read quite a lot of things.
Again, I don't tend to veer towards much crime. I have read crime, like I read trying to think about it. Well, Gone Girl's not really crime.
Did you read the Robert Galbraith, the J.K. Rowling ones?
I DNF'd the first one.
Okay, so I audiobooked those, and I thought they were an easy sort of audiobook.
I don't tend to read much crime. I don't read much horror, but that is because I don't like being scared. Like, there's no enjoyment for me of being scared. And I have an overactive imagination. I remember thinking, like, when I was a kid, I had a clown that you clipped to its feet to your feet and its hands to your hands. It was that big, and it would sit on my shelf at night, and it caused, I had nightmares about it. And yeah, I've got an overactive imagination. And I remember watching a couple of scary films at sleepovers when I was really young, at girls' houses for their birthdays and stuff, and having to go home in the middle of the night because I was petrified. I just can't cope with it. And I read Hex recently, and I thought that was going to be scarier than it was.
Hex is about the most I can do with horror. I'm like, that's a good level. Any more than that, no.
Because it wasn't too horrific. It had the potential. It could have gone really like scary.
Yeah,
because it did build up the atmosphere, but it sort of just plateaued a bit, didn't it? Which was good. Yeah, for what I was looking for.
I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same. Like, if I read something scary, then I have to read it with all the lights on, and then I start thinking about it. Even if I've read something else before, like, I try and trick my brain after I read something. I'm like, oh, I'll read something nice and light to make my brain not think about it, and I still end up just thinking about it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't tend to read horror because I'm a scaredy cat, which I freely admit. So
that's probably it. Horror, but I would read a bit of crime. I'd never say no. It just got to be the right sort of crime. And I don't tend to pick up poetry.
Oh yeah, some people are saying romance.
I don't get it.
I've read a few.
I love a bit of romance
this year, actually. Not many, but I've read a few. I didn't read any in the last 2 years, so I've just kind of started to edge a tiny toe in.
I think
don't
you've got
read
to be
any.
careful with romance, a bit like crime, because it can be very formulaic. So
This is my
the stories can all, you tend to know with romance that there's going to be a happy ending, and you can, but that is why I like it. I like it for those times where I might be having a bit of a shitty week, something's going a bit shit in my life, or I'm feeling a bit low, and I know I can pick up a romance, and I know that at the end everyone's going to be happy. And I think sometimes for me that's a bit like a nice little cozy. Yeah.
See,
you know,
I
you're
think
going to end up feeling good.
I tend to get that from like Fantasy of Manners books.
Oh, see, I was going to say, just for me, like epic fantasy gives me that. So even though epic fantasy is usually quite miserable, because most of the time I don't read fantasy, if my life is like not so great in real life, then fantasy is different enough from my life.
Yeah.
That I don't go, oh, well, they're in a similar situation to me, isn't this shit? Or God, you know, oh, the world is such an awful place and this is what happens to people, because it's not our world. So for me, even fantasy even can be really bleak and horrible, but it's still an escape almost, because it's not our bleak and horrible. It's another version of. That's probably really depressing.
That's why I like those really like the romances that I go for tend to be like Jill Shalvis, who does these ones set in these very small town like America where everyone knows each other and they don't feel very realistic. And I have no experience of small town America, being from the UK and not ever lived there. So for me, it's like watching Mean Girls or She's All That, or like Never Been Kissed, all those sort of chick lit films. It feels fantastical to me, but I know I'm going to get a jolly happy ending and everyone's going to be bonking their brains out and having fun.
So the other thing that people mentioned was non-fiction, which I think all of us do read actually.
I just don't read as much as I'd like.
Same. I've got a few on my shelf that I'm really excited to get to, so I need to bop them up a little bit. I haven't really read much this year, non-fiction. Last year I did really well on it, so I've got some in my list.
I've got one. Oh yeah, I haven't read that yet.
I love that one.
That was on Caitlin's recommendation. I'm a few essays into that. You read loads of non-fiction for Non-Fiction November, didn't you?
I did last year. Last year I did really well on non-fiction. Yeah, non-fiction November was like a really strong month for me as well. I really enjoyed nearly everything. So I do love it when I read it. I just need to actually dedicate time to it.
I'm obsessed with animal books, like non-fiction animal books. Since reading The Soul of the Octopus, Soul of an Octopus, I'm obsessed with
I want to get that one.
Animal books. I'm just about to start The Zoo, which was on my TBR for the cozy reading night, which isn't going to happen for me because I seem to have lost the books.
Oh no.
Maybe they're downstairs.
No, I don't do anything like that. They're all in piles in my book room. I would show you, but the Book Buddy books are sort of in a pile. I don't want people to see them, but yeah, I can't find it. A bit upset, really.
We'll take your word that it's in your house somewhere.
No, I'm a bit worried that it's not, and it's a library book. But anyway, it's it's about the establishment of London Zoo. So London Zoo is not that far from us. It's about a half-hour drive, if that. And we've got membership to that and Whipsnade, which is very close to us. And so we go quite regularly. So it's the story of how it came about, because it's just in the middle of Regent's Park, London Zoo. It's just in the middle of the park.
True.
So I always think it's quite interesting how it came about and how they got the animals, and so it looks like a really interesting book. So non-fiction, definitely recommend a bit of animal non-fiction. I think you'd like that.
I tend to find that I like really tragic, horrible non-fiction, which isn't great, is it? But I like memoirs and I like really disturbing topics. I just find them really interesting, like things like psychopaths and
I'm getting one
killers
for you.
And cults and things like that. I just find all of that really fascinating.
What the fuck's that? Eat me.
It's about cannibalism, I think.
There you go. So I think that sounds quite interesting.
It's a natural and unnatural history of cannibalism. I think that'd be up your street.
Yeah, probably. See, I can kind of read horror when it's real, because that sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it?
Do you like real crime books then?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I want to do it. I reckon I would love them, but I don't think I want to do it because I think I'll get really scared knowing it's real. Rather than I can just about manage the sort of cults and stuff, because I'm like, well, it's usually very far away from me and very small isolated communities and not something I'll probably be affected by. But yeah, real life,
and generally
like
people join
shootings and
cults
stuff is,
of their own volition, don't they?
yeah,
So
usually
you know that you wouldn't join a cult, whereas like the other things happen to people.
Exactly, and you could get
And
like
you can't
targeted
stop
at
it.
any time. So I'm not really into the
That could be at the door now.
Yeah.
crazy.
Limers.
So yeah,
What were we talking about? I can't remember.
I don't know whose book is
You
it?
went to Good Immigrant. It was what you were trying to talk about, I think.
Oh yeah, do the Good Immigrant, because
I
that's the one you're.
shoved it up. Well, I'm partway through it, and I don't know why, but I was enjoyed the first few, but I've just been this slumpiness, and I don't want to ruin it for myself, so I'm just holding off. But I'm partway through, so that is another one on my list to sort of try and pick up again this weekend, even if it's just like with these two, one short story and one essay, just to get the momentum, because eventually, if you read one short story and one essay every few days, you're going to get through it in a month, aren't you? So
yeah,
just gotta bite the bullet and do it.
Okay, is it your go, Mercedes? I think
so.
you're after Ellen.
Yeah, I've got non-fiction, so I may as well show that now as well.
Oh,
good segue. Good segue. That's where you get the practice from your podcast. Segue in.
I've got, this came out a couple of months ago. They Can't Kill Us All.
I want to read that
Story
one.
of Black Lives Matter by Wesley Lowry.
I have that on my shelf and
Everyone
I can't find
keeps
it. I've lost
recommending
that one.
To me.
And it's not too long. I mean, it's fairly small font, which puts me off sometimes because I just think, there's no need for it. But it's only a couple of 100 pages, and I feel like whilst I was aware of all the stuff that was being reported in the media, I feel like it's going to be really good to have it all down in one book in like chronological order, with like references to what was going on at all different locations, rather than it just being like, here's this news story,
Yeah, because you've got bits and pieces in the news, haven't you?
Yeah,
but, yeah.
And I believe he was actually arrested himself. And the story starts with that, with him being arrested, because he was
like reporting on it,
and he was at the scene of something, and he was arrested. So then he put together all of his sort of reportage and his experience and wrote the book. So, and I've just really been craving non-fiction lately, but I'm getting a bit overwhelmed because I must have 50 or 60 unread non-fiction books now, which is I know.
I've got about 12.
Which exactly, I used to have around that amount, and I was sort of like okay with it because I don't read as much non-fiction. And then in recent months, it's just grown and grown and grown. So when I look at the shelf, I just feel really overwhelmed. And like even I was like, I want to choose one non-fiction book for the weekend, but all of it, and I'm like, which one do I go for first? So I was like, I just couldn't narrow it down. But in the end, I was like, do you know what? This is really relevant right now, and this is really timely. So I'm just going to go for that one and read it, because I'm just taking too long making the decision. So I'm going to really try and get through this one quite quickly. And
if I can find it on my shelf, I might join in with you.
Yeah.
I know it's on there somewhere. I'm just going to find it.
So I've heard good things about it.
Cool. Caitlin, what else is on yours then?
Sorry, I was reading the comments. What is on mine? Next one I have is this one, Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell, because he is the author of the Greatcoat series, which I just finished the third of, and the fourth literally came out yesterday, so I'm going to be reading that one soon as well. But he's doing an event in London at Forbidden Planet on the 2nd of May, I think it is, and I'm going to try and go to that. And he's doing a signing for this book, which is his new YA one, so I'm going to try and read it before then. But apparently it's about this guy called Kellen, who is like every teenager ever in fantasy, about to be tested for magic and doesn't have any. So he has to try and trick them, hence why it's like got a playing card. He has to like use subterfuge tricks and stuff to try and trick the people who are testing him somehow into believing he has magic even though he doesn't. So it sounds kind of interesting. I think it's going to be a bit like Loki the trickster, that sort of stuff, I'm guessing. So we'll see. I really like his adult stuff, and I think it's quite crude, so I'm a bit worried how it will translate into YA, because I don't think it'll be as crude, and I like that, so hopefully it will. And
I feel like I saw Leanne from Literary Diversions, who's actually
as well
commenting now, Oh, I was then going to say how she started reading it. She just commented saying she just started it.
Excellent. She's in sync.
And wasn't very fussed.
Oh
Said.
no! Don't tell me that.
Really wasn't fussed. Not very great coats. Oh dear.
Well, maybe I can power read through it, and then I'll just take the Greatcoats books to the signing, because I actually do want to get that signed. So I'll do that. And then I'll just be like, yeah, I have read your YA, but can we talk about your adult series that I really like instead? See, he was one of the authors that I got an offer to interview, so I don't know.
It's just nerve-wracking. That's
Like
what I think
do,
when I
but
get
I
asked
didn't.
To interview authors.
It's just like, and I said I was busy, but then I'm going to go to his event,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping they're not going to be.
It's just nerve-wracking. Like, what are you supposed to ask them? I really liked your book. Like, then what?
See, I don't mind doing that.
I know.
That's what my job was. So.
You used to do that. I reckon you'd be alright at it, but yeah,
I'd be awful.
you're stammering.
I think you'd be
Because I
alright with
thought,
someone
oh,
that
Robin
you
Hobb,
liked.
maybe I could do that with her, and then I was like, no, I don't think I'm even going to be able to talk to her when I meet her. I'm just going to be like, I love the book. Sorry.
Fangirly. Oh.
Silent.
But
I'm
that must
going on
be
my
quite
own
nice
as
for them.
well.
Oh, brave.
Yeah, I wish I could come.
Yeah. Adventurous.
Someone wants to
Adventurous.
know, Caitlin, how you choose your books, or how you and me choose our books, because they've watched Mercedes videos and they're interested in how we choose our next books.
I haven't watched that video yet.
Well, I just said,
Mercedes.
like, I'm
What
really
did you say?
struggling.
Summarise.
I'm really struggling. See, this is my friends and they've not watched it. No, it's uploaded today, so I'll let you both off.
I've got it in my watch later.
Or maybe
It's in mine too.
I lose track. Basically, I was saying recently, I've really, really been struggling to choose what to read next, and I just get really overwhelmed.
That's like the story of your life.
I know. I know.
I've known
It's not
you. That's your eternal struggle.
I know. I'm forever saying this. But I just was like,
There were
I was like,
times in the past where Mercedes would send me a picture of 10 books that she was desperate to read. I had to choose one for her because she couldn't decide.
But did you ever read the one you picked?
I think you did a few times, but not many times.
I just, there's too many, and I'm aware this is a self-inflicted problem, and it's a selfish thing to bitch about because I'm really blessed and lucky that I have this many books. But I'll be like, oh, I'm in a sci-fi, and you know how you could go, well, are you in a non-fiction mood? Are you in a fantasy mood? Are you in a family drama mood? And if you had one of each of those books, at least it would narrow it down by that much. But I don't have one of each of those books. I have like at least 20. So even by narrowing it down to a type, it's not really that helpful because then and then when I'm looking at that selection on my shelf, I'll be like, but do I really want to read this type of book? Or do I actually want to read the other one? It just wastes all my time. So, but you guys, well, Caitlin,
I narrow mine down monthly.
I was then going to say, you do a TBR, and Caitlin, you used to, and then you stopped.
I still do. Yeah, you obviously haven't been watching.
How do you make your TBR though, Caitlin?
Oh, have you been doing them?
Yeah, I have been.
Do you just pick off books, or is it for like readathons or
priority
challenges?
one for me is always buddy reads. I try and get buddy reads in before anything. So if I know someone else is reading a book that I've got on my shelf, I will buddy read it if I can, because I know that's the best way for me to feel like I want to beat them when I read the book.
Yeah, I did notice that when we read that book last week. She was like,
everyone knows it.
Before you.
Michael beat me reading the Greatcoats books as well, and I was really angry. Stayed up late trying to finish it. But yeah, no, I'm very competitive when it comes to reading. So buddy reads always come first because I know that they'll motivate me. If someone else is reading it and I want to hear what they've left me as a message, I'm like, right, I've got to get to that page.
I don't think I can buddy read with you again because I'll never get to leave a message first.
You're quite fast though. You were like a good level with me when you were reading at the same time, and then you
but I really had to push myself. I was trying to do things. I was like, no, I must keep reading. She's already on the next section. She's left me 2 messages. I must keep going.
Sorry about that.
Poor old Jamie. He was like, will you turn the light off yet? I was like, no, I'm still reading. I'm still reading.
It's only a little book at least.
So they come first.
Yeah, so I tend to go for buddy reads first, and then after that I go for, if I've requested something from a publisher, then I'll go for that, because I don't request many from publishers.
But
Mercedes does. That's your problem. Yeah. Maybe you need to cut down on that.
Well, I am.
Maybe you should have some restraint.
I haven't requested a single book this month so far.
Whoa. I'm impressed.
We can hardly talk, Caitlin. How many books did you pick up at the event last night?
Not as many as you, my dear. Not as many as you.
Yeah. No, not as many as me.
About 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah. I think
5.
I picked up 7. Maybe.
That's not as bad as request.
But yeah, so that comes.
I don't request any books really. I only accept ones that people offer me, and that's not, you know, I think that is a self thing. Like, I'm sure I could request some and I wouldn't get all of them, but I'm sure if I requested them, people would send them. But I've just stopped myself from like doing that now.
Well, yeah, you're trying to clear yours as well, aren't you? Whereas I'm
trying
not
to shift
trying to
it
clear
down.
Mine, really. I'd have a struggle to clear mine.
And I feel bad if I don't get to them in a timely manner. I've got so many review books that haven't, like, I always make sure I talk about them in a haul and things like that, but I feel bad if I haven't actually read them and talked about them.
I only feel bad if it's one I've requested. If they've just sent it to me out of the blue, or if they've asked me if I want it and I've said yes, I don't feel bad about that, because I'm like, well, they were going to send it anyway. It's no skin off their back. But
I mean, it's not really worth feeling bad about at all. I mean, I say this because I have like some I've had for over a year, like at least 50 that I haven't read it, that I probably requested. But even just by showing it, that's done what they wanted you to do.
Yeah,
there's no obligation.
I work in
there's never a promise.
So I know how much it takes, how much money it costs to produce an ARC copy of a book. Unless it's a special edition one, it's pittance. And especially to like big publishers. Smaller publishers, yes, you probably want to prioritize theirs more because they're going to be paying more. But with bigger publishers, it is nothing to them. So you don't need to prioritize it unless it's a book you really want, and hopefully it is if you've accepted it.
Yeah,
so.
I tend to accept.
So that's my next one, and then after that, I just kind of like decide randomly. I just go along the shelves, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like
you're
that
very
one.
good at that.
And I add them all into a pile, and then when I get to about 10, I just cut myself off because I'm like, I can't get more than that. And then,
but how do you then stick to it?
I don't know. I just
want to stick to it.
I don't always stick to it. I usually find that I do a TBR of about 10 books, and out of those 10, I'll read about 7, and I'll like just not read 3, and I'll add others in as the month goes on.
Yeah.
So I'm quite free with my TBR because I know I can read about 15 books in a month usually, depending on how busy I am and how long they are. So if someone just says to me like, oh, I'm going to be reading this, do you want to join me? Then I've got room to sort of add things in, but I've also got room to chuck things out if I'm not enjoying them or whatever. So I think at the moment it's been harder because we've been doing the BookTube SFF. So my TBRs have been a bit more like already.
And they're not always books that we necessarily want to read, are they? So I think that makes it
no. I think from the BookTube SFF Awards, I had already read everything I was interested in when the shortlist came up. I'd already read all the things that I was like, oh, I really love these. So I know pretty much in my head. I've got a few more to read, but I know in my head probably what I'm going to vote for in those categories because I'd already read them just off my own back. I liked the sound of the book and I read it. So the ones I've got left, I'm not so into. Or I don't think I will be. But because of that, it's been a bit more rigorous and I haven't enjoyed as many of the books as I normally would. But when I'm picking them myself, I usually do enjoy them. So I think those are my 3 processes that I go through. Buddy reads, publishers, and then just random.
Mine's really shelf slams really helped actually. I mean, I always set a
TBR, don't you?
Yeah, we pull a theme out and we made it quite a loose-ish theme. So this month's theme is one-word titles, and we were like, oh my god, that's going to be really difficult. And when we all looked through our shelves, we had 100. I mean, I've probably got about 50 or 60 one-word titles, and so I picked out. And I knew I was feeling slumpy, and I read so many books last month. I knew I was going to have a really bad one this month, and it was just going to be a lot slower because I tend to have that sort of like I've gorged myself, and now I'm going on a bit of a diet of reading, and so I picked a lot of YA contemporary and fantasy because I knew that was a lighter sort of easier read. So we always pick 12. Sometimes I pick 20 just because I like to maneuver within those, and then I put them on the floor. So I've got shelves behind. I can show you the shelves. Hold on. So I've got shelves there, and then if I spin you all the way around, I don't know if you can see them, but I've got shelves over there as well.
What a mess!
It is a mess. Sorry. Yeah. And so I just go through the shelves, and then I'm loath to show you this now. You've talked about my mess, but this is the floor. And these are all TBRs. Books. So there's a stack there for my fantasy bingo. There's a stack there for my diversity bingo, which I just pick up as and when.
I'm super excited about that. I might join it.
It's good. I think you do really well in it. And then I've got my stack of books that are for the month.
It easily.
So I just pick off the floor. So all the books that are on the floor are free game, and I tend not to just look at the shelves. And then once the end of the month comes, the books that were from that Shelf Slam TBR get all put back on the shelves, and then I start with my next month's. And next month is going to be a bit of a difficult one.
Do you know what it is already?
I can probably spoil you, but I won't.
Okay.
I have to wait and see, but it's a really complicated
What? There's only
one.
90 people and us. We won't tell anyone.
Okay, so next month is viewer's choice, which basically
guys,
means
get ready.
you can do it however you want. So what I'm doing,
Screw her over and choose all the ones she doesn't want to read.
I'm going to choose them all.
You don't get that much choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a TBR video where I pick maybe 5 or 10 books, and I'm going to show people, and then I'm going to get them to comment on which one I should start with. And then every time I finish a book, I'll be putting 3 books in a poll on Twitter, and people are just whichever one gets the most votes, that will be the next one I read. So it's going to be quite.
That's pretty good.
It's going to be much more of a. But it's going to be much more strict. So because normally I have a TBR and I just pick from like the 20 books, but this time it's going to be, oh, the viewers have chosen this one. Well, this is the one I must read. And instantly, as soon as someone picks a book, so if I sent Caitlin a picture of 3 books and said, pick the one you want me to read, and she told me I would not want to read that one. As soon as you'd said it, I may have wanted to read it before, but as soon as someone tells me that's the one you got to read, I'm like, no, thanks.
I'm the same.
So it's going to be a bit hard for me, I think.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's how I pick my books. It's quite it's like a whittling down process.
That's good. Sorry, I've been reading the comments whilst you've been talking, and I'm not very good at doing the two things where you listen and you read. I can't do that. Some people I know can do that.
Why has Lauren put filthy?
I think that was at your room. Your books everywhere.
Yeah. That's okay, because I just wondered if I missed something. Have you been talking about something dirty?
Hi, Thomas. Thomas said hello. Sorry.
Loads of people now.
I know, we're getting everyone joining in.
Well, I think when we started, maybe a lot of America was still asleep. I don't know what the time difference is.
I don't think they were asleep. It's still Friday there.
They might have been at work.
They're behind us. Yeah.
Probably at work.
Where they live.
The latest, like 9 hours behind us, 8 hours.
So that's like midday.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Right, let's go to the next books. Who hasn't spoken for a bit?
Oh my god.
I
haven't thrown my book on the floor. I just did one, so it's you next then.
Did you?
I've only got 2 left that I was going to talk about. How many of you guys got left?
4.
All right. I'll talk about my next one then, and then because it doesn't matter, I don't go for a bit after that. This one is the SFF Awards. It's a library book again, so it needs to go back. I'm not reading the whole book because I don't want to. It's a collection of short stories from Brandon Sanderson, and that's one fair. That is on the awards is Edge Dancer
and Miss One Secret History. But you said you weren't going to read that one.
I'm not going to read that one. I'm not going to vote on that.
What a rebel!
Well,
you don't have to read Edge Dancer then if you don't want to vote on it.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but I kind of should read both of them because I really desperately want to vote for Every Heart a Doorway because I loved it.
What a shit.
Yeah, but would you vote for a Sanderson one, Mercedes? I'm not sure.
I also
you'd probably like Edge Dancer because you've read the Stormlight Archive books, haven't you?
Yeah, but then I read this. I know this is like a big controversial thing, but I read that post he wrote about like being really homophobic,
super homophobic,
and I then got rid of every single book I had of his on my shelves, even the ones I hadn't read. I just
threw mine on the floor.
I just thought, fuck you, I don't want to support you. So
yeah, no, that is fair. That was really bad.
I'm done with it. And the fact that
if you're interested,
he'd responded to the post several years ago saying, "Oh, what I wrote previously was a little bit bad," but then his response to the post was still really homophobic and awful. It was just
he has put some lesbian characters in his books now, so I think he's trying. But I agree.
He said something in the article along the lines of like he thought that being gay was akin to like having an affair on your wife, and it's the same temptation of desire that you should stop yourself from having. It's like it's not even comparable.
Yeah.
So I just binned all his books off. I thought, I'm done with you. So
that's fair enough.
See, I'm one of those people who kind of separates the author from the book quite a lot.
That's a good video topic, Caitlin. Store that in your bank for videos because I think that would be really interesting.
I can't do it. I can't separate it because
I'll just try to, but
I'll just be like this the whole time. You're homophobic.
When I find something like that out about it that I like,
if someone watches that now, they're going to think that Sarah Moss.
Yeah, sorry, she's not. She's not. I didn't have a Sanderson handy.
They've just dropped into the video and seen Mercedes flicking for her book, saying homophobic. You've just ruined it for Sarah Moss.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, poor Sarah. What was I saying?
So,
Oh yeah, when I read all my Sanderson books, I didn't know that about him. So the only ones I've read since I knew that about him are the most recent few. And by then I was already committed to the series, so I'm invested. So I think now I get sent, this is really cheeky, but I get sent a lot of the Brandon Sanderson ones from the publishers now. So technically I'm not really supporting him that much. I suppose my videos do, so I could say he's a homophobe and you don't want to support him, then buy them secondhand. But same with Orson Scott Card. I do the same with him. I buy all of his secondhand and then I don't support him. So
yeah.
I tend to try and, if I know something about an author,
because wasn't there that author, that fantasy or
video.
sci-fi author that was like, it turned out she was abusing children or something?
Benjamin Sigrid.
No. Oh, what's her book called?
I want to say her name begins with A.
Yeah,
it's like Anne something or.
The book's
Who
called.
Are we talking about?
The Mists about. 1 second. The book's called Mists of.
Google it.
Marion Zimmer.
Yeah,
Marion
Marion Bradley. She got done for sexually.
I'm getting there. Yeah,
her husband
was a molester, wasn't she?
She was her and her husband were molesting their own children, and she knew.
Apparently, her book's good. So I'm like, should I not read her book because of that? I'll just get it secondhand.
I just can't read a book. I don't think I could.
I think there's other people who are writing it who didn't molest their kids.
Well, that's true, but
yeah,
it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. Because people in the comments are like, "Who are you talking about? Who?"
So Brandon Sanderson, it's quite easy to find this letter. I'm trying to find.
It's still on his blog. So if you just type in like Sanderson homophobic or something,
then it comes up. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it is the publisher. I think it's a duty of people that if it's like, they should just take their books off the shelf. They shouldn't be allowed to. People
are making money. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, a lot of them are straight white men. So, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are straight white men who are very big in the publishing game. So, and they can get away with saying that stuff. It just happens.
Yeah, because there was also that thing, wasn't there, about was it Lumberjanes or Rat Queens, where one of the colour artists or something.
Don't diminish Lumberjane. I love Lumberjanes.
It's a shame because I didn't like Lumberjanes, but I did like Rat Queens.
But they got rid of him, didn't they? He beat his girlfriend or his wife up, and they got rid of him. They got a new.
Which I think is the right move, isn't it? They got rid of him, and now they can,
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say is that I know it's difficult because we have somewhat of a platform. It isn't just our money that supports somebody; it's what we say on our channel. So if we say,
true.
Oh, this book's really good, but we don't preface that with saying, but also just so you know, they're homophobic or they're whatever. Then we are
done it for some of them, so I think maybe I should start doing it for any of them.
But
sometimes I get a bit excited about the book and forget to mention much about the author.
I find it weird that Brandon Sanderson can include like lesbian and gay characters in his books when he has those feelings behind. Yeah, but if he's got those thought processes behind it, how can you trust his representation of them is like a good representation?
Well, I don't know if they are a good representation. I'm not.
Yeah.
I couldn't say if they're good or not. I just know they're there. So someone lesbian would have to say that. If they wouldn't agree that it's good, I would imagine. So it's very small in name.
I mean, if you
I kind of feel disgusted that he feels he can write them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you read the letter, he comes across like he's trying to be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I don't understand this. This is the way I was raised and all this stuff. But yeah, he keeps saying really offensive things and thinks he can somehow bracket that by going, but I'm a really good guy who likes everybody. It doesn't matter. You have this platform. And also the blog is still live. So it's been years since he responded to the blog post and he hasn't responded since then. So in my mind, you either respond now and say, this was completely abhorrent of me, and I have
since grown as a person.
Yeah, or you remove it. No, but he responded years ago, and if you look at the response, it's still pretty bad. It's still saying
I haven't read it for a while.
It's in the response where he says, "I think it's akin to."
Yeah. See, if you're justifying what you're originally saying again, then that's not really
he's like, I'm trying to write
apologising,
my fiction, but you know, and all this stuff. So, and another thing is, when I looked into the Marion Zimmer Bradley thing, one thing that really struck hard with me is that her daughter said, her daughter was one of the people who was molested by her and her partner. Her
Apparently
daughter
she
said,
was raped more than.
yes,
Yeah.
and she
was
said
a full-on rapist.
to her it felt like a silencing. She said, because all these people praise my mother as this feminist female author at a time when there wasn't many in the science fiction and fantasy world, and raved about her, and every time somebody else invited her to do an event or asked her to do this or asked her to do that, knowing that she'd been, you know, charged with these things, it was a silencing and an oppression. She said, I felt like I couldn't tell anyone my name or who my mother was because they all loved her. So it is, even if you buy it secondhand, it's still silencing.
On the plus side, apparently Gallants donate all of Marion Zimmer Bradley's profits to save the children now. So they are
that's
taking away from her, I guess.
I mean, she's dead now, though, isn't she?
That's what I was thinking as I was saying that. I was like,
and her daughter probably doesn't want it.
Away from,
so they've got no one else to give it to.
I guess that's true. Anyway, this is taking a dark turn.
Let's talk about all
just quickly, Matthew Bryan, I haven't read any Guy Gavriel Kay, but I do have some on my shelf. And Mercedes, have you read Guy Gavriel Kay? Someone wanted to know if you're...
No, I do always mean to, but they're just quite big, aren't they?
I've got one,
I
think it's big, like Children of the Sun or something like that, but I haven't read it yet.
Sky, I think
that's the one. Yeah. I have got
read that one, and I've read Tigana. I haven't read any more yet. But I've
got a lot of books I haven't read.
Haven't we all?
I'm just looking at them now, feeling.
You just realised.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I've still got 4 books to talk about. I might have to whiz through
me too.
them. I don't know how long we've been on.
But I don't need to talk about anymore.
Oh, that's all right. I thought we'd been here for hours. God, I was getting bored of you guys.
I'm boring you.
I just warn you now, I might disappear in a minute because I do need to go for a wee. I'll just drop my headphones and I'll come back.
I thought you were going to say I'll just drop my pants and I'll go.
I'll just do it here.
I'm potty trained. Yeah. But I might need to go quite desperately.
I will just say, some people are saying they feel bad because they don't look into the author beforehand. I don't necessarily do that.
But if you hear about it,
if I hear about it, then I will not go, oh, I just won't find out anymore. If I hear about it, I'll then go and look into it. I don't look into every single author because, you know, I read a lot of authors, so and most people.
And there's plenty that you can read for years and you would never know it from their books, and then something comes out about them. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that came out about some of these authors hasn't come out until they're a lot older, and it's just, you can't always know. And
I mean, you can't be ashamed. Like, I watched Jimmy Savile as a kid. It's not my fault. I watched him. I didn't know. You know,
it's just you picked up a book based on the premise or a recommendation from someone. So it's not at all.
I think it's once you know
once you
that
know
information.
It's whether you can separate it or not. For me, I can, but I know some people can't. So it's whatever you're comfortable with, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I'm uncomfortable with reading the story. I'm uncomfortable with that person getting publicity and making anything off the back of me reading their book, or like people reading their books.
Yeah, it's a tricky line to walk. It's tricky.
Certainly.
It is.
Okay, next book.
Shall I go?
How many have you got left?
4.
Okay,
you
go.
Both got 4.
I'll go quick. I've mentioned this already in my Cozy Reading Night TBR. This is Signs for Lost Children by Sarah Moss. And it's the second book in a duology set in Victorian England. And I didn't love the first, which is weird because I really enjoy her books. But the first one was following 2 sisters from their birth to their like 20s, I guess. And it would jump like 5 years. So you'd get like, and it would just jump. And I felt like it never really let you connect before it moved. Whereas this one follows more in a normal narrative. It doesn't jump, I think. So I'm hoping to enjoy this one a bit more. But I did still enjoy the first one. So yeah, fingers crossed I like this one.
Excellent. Quick pitch. Okay, I'll hold the fort.
Right, and I'm going for a wee, so.
Okay, that's why I said I'll hold the fort.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Look at the blank screen.
We'll all sit in silence, shall we?
Yeah, we're not doing anything else. Women v
carry on.
Oh, we're carrying on. We've been asked the question. Women v
tell me the question.
has asked the 2 of us, do we keep all the books we read? And if not, which books do we keep? She only keeps 4 and 5 star books or books she will read again. I will answer because somebody's asked for Eleanor. Eleanor doesn't keep many of the books that she reads, does she? She's
no,
told us
she only. I think she only keeps like her absolute favorites.
Yeah,
she doesn't keep many at all. I do the same as what you said. I keep mainly 5 star, some 4 star if they're part of a series. And I've got the rest of the series, and I like the rest of the series.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I'll only keep them if they are 5 star books or like fantastic. So because I read a lot of series, I think I do get some duds in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably, as if it was a standalone book, it wouldn't stay on the shelf. But because it's in a series, it stays. Like there are plenty. But yeah, most of them are books I would reread, but I haven't because I'm shit at rereading essentially. But I am rereading Hobbes, so that's a start. Maybe I'll reread some more. But yeah, I don't reread very often. I do tend to just get rid of anything that's 3 stars and below.
Yeah,
we're talking about which books we keep, Eleanor.
We said you don't
only
keep
5
many.
stars.
Yeah,
that's what we
I've
said.
only got 1 shelf of books that I've kept, and I've only started keeping them since I started BookTube because I need something if I do a tag video.
What a good way to do.
I've never got any books on me.
I have hundreds that I've kept. But
me too.
They're nearly all 4 or 5 star. I'll keep a 3 star if I have the rest of the author's works and they were 4 or 5s, or it's a publisher I particularly like and I want to sort of keep the publisher together, or if I think there were some really good things of merit in it, that it was nearly a 4. But mainly they're 4 or 5 stars. So pretty much all my books that are on my red shelf, because I keep them separate, are books that I would like wholeheartedly recommend.
Yeah, all the books behind me are the ones I'd recommend, and 4 and 5 stars really. Shall I go now?
Yes.
Next book I'm planning to read is The Guns Above by Robin Bennis, which is a steampunk, I believe, and it's about a woman called Josette Dupré who is put onto an airship, and she's like the first female captain to command an airship in this world, sort of thing. So there's this guy, some jerk, who's like supposed to oversee her and make sure she's not messing up, I guess. But there's also a war going on, and so she's kind of like thrown in at the deep end, and they're all expecting her to fail, but I'm guessing she doesn't. I hope she doesn't, because it's written by a lady, so I'm hoping she does good. So yeah, I'm excited. It's a Tor one, and they sent it to me randomly, and it sounds good, so I've kept it, and I'm hopeful.
That's on the list of stuff that I don't read very often, is steampunk. I don't know why. Because
I like steampunk.
I don't know why. Just the wild westy sort of feel with the.
I don't really like wild westy, but I like sort of the gears and gadgets of it. I like the sort of mechanisms and things. I find that really interesting.
Was the KJ series by Chris Wooding steampunk?
I would say kind of. I think when we were reading it, Brock gave it the name Diesel Punk, didn't he?
Yeah, he said it was Diesel
Which
Punk.
I think fits quite well.
Yeah.
So, but Becky Chambers has blurbed this, and she says, wonderfully adventurous and laudably detailed. So she says it's good, and then there's other people
I don't know
as well.
About steampunk that puts me off, but I do struggle with it. I don't know whether it's because you've got fantasy where you're thinking everything's really, that's it, it's fantasy, and then with steampunk I feel like it's like more set in like an urban fantasy feel often, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit more sort of Victorian era urban fantasy. I know what you mean. It's kind of crossing urban with Victorian. It's
more
era,
like our world.
Yeah, and I find that difficult to like get my head around. I think
as well, I quite like sort of Regency era stuff. Like I find it quite interesting, and a lot of it is in the same sort of time period as steampunk, where it's like all tailored clothes and big fancy dresses and parasols, and I'm thinking of the Parasol Protectorate series right now. Obviously, Gail Carriger. I would say she's steampunk, and
Natural History of Dragons, not steampunk, but is that set in the era?
It's the same sort of era, Fantasy of Manners, same era. So I like that era basically in history, and I think that is why I like steampunk so much. And I also like sort of crazy devices that can do preposterous things but are just justified because it's steampunk, it's fantasy, this is what we do. So that's my next one. Hopefully I can start and enjoy that.
Cool. So I'm going to go to the toilet now. So, Eleanor, you can crack on with
my
yours.
God.
Well, I've got one I can show you.
Or you can deal with.
showing this.
You can talk to people about the comments. Oh, actually, I won't say until I get back because otherwise I'll miss the discussion. There's something I want to mention when I get back. Bye.
Okay. Keep that thought.
So, I don't know. What should I talk about?
Your
Okay.
next
I'm going
book?
to talk about this one. Well, we've really covered the books that I'm going to read, but there is a book here that I have been recommended very highly by Janet.
Okay.
And it's a crime book, which I think is interesting because we've just talked about how we don't really read crime. And it's by Graham Norton, which again,
I didn't know he wrote books.
So if you were to list the things that I don't, if you know, like buzzwords,
Yeah.
where if you were to pick buzzwords that turned me off of things, like so if I read them I was like, nah. War.
Yeah, you hate that.
Horses.
You hate that.
Ships. And
Has it
books
got
set
all
in
of them?
Ireland. And books set in Ireland. I don't know what it is, but books set in Ireland I really struggle with. I don't know if that's because mainly the books I've read set in Ireland are all like romancy type books, but books set in Ireland. But Janet has promised me that this is brilliant and that I'm going to love it.
So it's got all of those things.
No, it's got the Irish. It's set in Ireland.
Okay. So it's only got one. Fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to have all of those. I don't think I've ever read a book that's set in Ireland about the war. It's got dogs and ships.
There must be plenty of them.
Yeah, there must be, but I've never heard. But she said how good this was, and I don't know much about it, but it's I think it's about a couple of women and maybe someone's having an affair, but there's like a body found in someone's back garden or something.
Okay, interesting.
But we were just talking about like crime, so I think this is going to be high up on my list of ones to read soon.
Have you got it on audio?
No.
Because I know Lauren listened to it on audio and I think he narrates it and she really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but Janet read it and said how amazing it was. She sent it to me because we like to cheat occasionally on Shelf Slam and send each other random books off our wish list just in case the other one feels the need to buy
that
something.
Wasn't the rule. That was not the rule.
That's fair.
It doesn't happen very often, but it's quite nice because we don't tell each other we're doing it. So occasionally, like I think twice it's happened, like a random book's appeared in my book because I've chatted to Unvoxer and I've obviously been having a bad week and I'm
That's
like,
nice. Why don't
really
you guys
terrible. I feel like the worst mum. I've just shouted at her because we spent 6 hours trying to decide what pair of pants to wear, and then the next day, like a book will arrive and it makes me feel happy.
Oh no, that's cute. Janet is the nicest person. Her channel is Swirly Girly Reads, by the way.
Yeah,
she
really
does.
good.
And she deserves way more subscribers.
She does.
Yeah,
really
she
good.
does.
And I picked up the Soul of an Octopus from her and this one. So
excellent. We've had a question.
Good. Okay.
Or do you want to go for whatever you were going to say when you get back?
Yeah,
first,
what were you going to talk about?
Well, I was going to mention my next book. Should I do that? And that was part of the thing I was going to say. Or do you want to do your next book, Caitlin?
Well, I was going to ask a question.
Right, do the question first, and then I'll do the book thing I want to talk about.
The question
I'm confused.
is, do you loan out books to a circle of friends and family? Which I guess you slightly answered with Janet, but do you expect to get them back or not?
I haven't loaned any to Janet.
You buy them off each other's
Amazon wish list, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I do, yeah. I just loaned my mother-in-law. And normally, my husband will laugh if I don't suppose he's watching downstairs, but I've got this thing with magazines that if I buy like myself Heat magazine or Good Housekeeping, if someone else tries to read it before I've sat down and read it from cover to cover, I get really angry. Don't know why.
I remember this. I took the train with Eleanor once and she had a pack of 2 magazines and she offered me one and then she kept looking over my shoulder being like, what's happening?
You know what it was? We were discussing stuff that was in the magazines, and then I was like, "Don't tell me, don't tell me, because I don't want to know." Because I'm going to read. And so I don't tend to lend out many books that I haven't read for that reason. But I've just lent my mother-in-law The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and I haven't read it yet. So I'm getting better at that as I get older. Like lending things, but I don't tend to lend out books I love. I
wouldn't lend out something I hadn't read. Fuck that. I want to read it.
Yeah, no, nor would I.
I've got so many books.
I lend out quite a few books to my friends because I've got a few who do read. So Maddie gets quite a lot of mine, and Lauren, you guys know them. So,
but I think it would just be like one person at a time for me. Like I'd like to be able to keep tabs.
Yeah.
So I know that my mother-in-law's got that.
At one point, and I had to keep a list, and I got really stressed out because I was like, oh, I can't be a library.
Yeah, if I give it
So
to my
I've got
mum,
like, I
she
tend to give it
forgets,
to
so-
those two, and that's about it, really. My mum doesn't really read that many books. So it
Yeah, this
crosses
is the
mine,
thing.
so-
I don't have people I see often who are readers, so there'd be no one I could really lend them to. My friend used to live closer to me, and she reads a lot, and I used to give her a stack of about 6, but she was brilliant because she'd be texting me and she'd just say, I've just finished this one, I just finished this one. The next time I saw her, she'd give me all 6 back. She'd never hold them. As soon as she was done, they'd be back with me, and she'd try and read them quickly to get them back, but she's moved further away now, so I don't do that. But if I give it to my mum, she'll be like, I don't know where it is, I don't know if I've still got it. I'll be like, so
Yeah,
I've
and I
stopped
think
doing that.
we're all very similar, where because we meet up quite regularly, either amongst ourselves or with lots of other booktubers. I've always there's a stack over in the corner there that are books that I've read that I didn't give 5 stars, or that I got duplicates of for whatever reason from publishers, and we give them to each other, don't we? So I don't feel like I'm giving books away and getting rid of and sort of sharing books with people all the time anyway. And
that's true.
And I don't like borrowing books either from people.
I don't borrow books.
I never borrow
Like people at work kept offering to lend me books, and I was like, if I want it, I'll get it myself. Like, stop trying to lend me them. Because, and this sounds really horrible,
They're
but
just
the
trying
reason
to recommend you something.
I know, but the reason I don't want to borrow something is because then there's a time frame and I need to try and read it quickly, and I don't want that time.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So
that's why
we're
the library.
The books we already have. We don't need other people's.
The library's not so bad because you could just take it back if you haven't read it. But like,
and you can renew it 4 times.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, have you read it yet? And you're going to feel bad because you haven't read it yet. So
they're going to want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just say, no, thank you. I've got too many books.
Speaking of that, I did get given a book by my friend. I still got it. I've still got this book. She lent me like 2 years ago, and I haven't read it.
Oh my god, I would be.
I just
fuming.
remembered that.
I would be absolutely fuming.
But I don't think she's like that. She doesn't read that. I think she's one of those people that reads like maybe 3 or 4 books a year.
She's probably forgotten about it.
People do that. I can't.
I hope so. No, I get a bit stressed when I don't read for like a day.
No, me too. Okay, my next book is an Elena recommendation.
Oh, I'm looking.
It is this one, Dreadnought, which I picked up the other day by April Daniels. So I love the cover. I think
you'll whiz through that.
To be fast, isn't it? And I think it's got superheroes and, correct me if I'm wrong, trans lesbian main character. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Superheroes, trans lesbian main character, YA sounds pretty good to me. I'm down. Plus, it's beautiful, like all the way around.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it looks really nice.
I absolutely love it.
It's really good as well.
Diversion books, never heard of them, but they do nice books.
It was. I think what I like the most about that is that you're seeing a trans character whose family is not accepting or supportive. This isn't really a spoiler. Of this, and she just doesn't give a shit. Well, she does give a shit actually, but she's just like, well, like it or lump it.
Yeah,
basically. Like, it makes me sad that you don't want to, but I'm not changing for you. And I really liked that. And you know, I'm not saying that is an easy thing, but I really liked how they sort of explored that with her character.
No, it sounds good. I'm definitely excited.
And it's just really fun.
I put it in my LGBTQ plus recommends because I did like a few that I'd read and recommend, and then this was the one I most want to get to next for that reason. So
it's a bit like Diverse X-Men. Like it's like Diverse X-Men. There's loads of superheroes in it, and I can see it being a good series.
Yeah, I think it is.
Tell me about it when you read it.
So
I'm excited to hear.
I will. Don't you worry. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. So that's my next one.
Nice.
Me?
Do I need to go again? Or you go.
So the thing I want to talk about is the reason I'm picking up this book is because I've started to watch Firefly.
Have you only just started? Is it not rewatching?
I haven't finished it yet, so don't tell me.
I haven't finished it yet either.
What's wrong with you people?
Well, I'll tell you why. So the book is Planetfall by Emma Newman. I feel like reading sci-fi. I'm going to give this a go. I don't feel like this is anything like Firefly, but it's pretty much the only. No, it's the only science fiction book I have. So I'm limited. Okay, because I don't read sci-fi, but I'd really like to get more into it. I don't read a lot of sci-fi because I struggle to know which ones are like action-based and which ones are more like character. I'm much more into character-based ones. And like I know that some people said that. Yeah, I know that some people said not much happened in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but I liked that because you just got to know the world and the characters.
Yeah.
So I'm well up for books like that. I don't know what this is going to be, like if this is going to be really actiony or I don't know.
It's got some action, but I would say it's a lot more character focused, because the thing I think I took away from it most was all of the talk about mental health and anxiety. The main character has quite a serious anxiety problem, and she's also a hoarder in quite an extreme way. And it talks a lot about, there's another character who is absolutely despicable in the book. Like, I absolutely despise this character because of how that character treats the main character, and it's so horrible, but I feel like it's such a raw example of what it would be like if you really had this anxiety and someone did invade you. So I think for that, it's amazing. I think the story was not my favourite.
Is it a bit technical?
Ever, but because of the character. No, it's not really technical. There's like things like 3D printing and stuff in it, so it's quite modern, but it's not really technical as such. I wouldn't say it's hard to get into.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's hard SF. I'd say it's definitely like soft SF.
Yeah.
But I think the story wasn't as strong as the characters were, just because I thought the characters were really strong in how they were represented. So yeah, that's what I would say. I haven't read the second one yet, but I'm excited to do that.
I had a message to Mercedes, just in case. Are you watching Firefly on Netflix?
No.
Oh, because someone said it's about to leave Netflix.
No, I do not source my TV and film legally. So I'm not using Netflix.
Don't admit that on live Google Hangout.
Everybody does it. It's fine.
I certainly don't, because I have no idea how to.
Oh. I can teach you when we're not live on air.
This live stream has not gone in the direction I planned.
People always ask me
I
this,
do not want to participate in illegal behaviour.
When I do film wrap-ups and I've watched something that's not released in the UK yet, people are like, "Oh, where did you watch that?" I'm like, "At home." On my computer. So yeah, basically I've been watching Firefly, and
which is out everywhere. You've just not watched it legally.
So a few years ago, I thought I'd give it a go, right? Because I'd started watching Battlestar Galactica. Have you guys seen Battlestar Galactica?
No, but Jamie keeps telling me he watched it when he was younger, and that's my husband, by the way.
I've heard good things about it. I just haven't seen it.
So
it's quite a commitment, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite big.
That's why I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, we got a few seasons in and we were loving it. And then I won't spoil anything, but just one of the characters got so irritating for us, we couldn't watch anymore and we stopped.
I hate
and
that.
I always, it was just beyond, and he really started to dominate the story, and I couldn't stand it anymore. And we stopped watching, and I always feel like there's that sort of missing from my TV and film experience. Like, I've always
said you didn't finish it.
Well, I just don't feel like there's much actually
that sort of genre.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's much fantasy or science fiction that I enjoy in film or television. That I think's done well. Like, a lot of it I don't
there's
enjoy.
Not that much that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you watched Passengers? Just to speak, because I've just downloaded that from iTunes. iTunes legal. You can stick your finger. I had it right. Yeah, Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris.
Oh no, but I saw the trailer and I don't think it looks.
Oh, I think it looks brilliant from the trailer. Where they get woken up 50 years into a 99-year voyage.
What happens in every single 80s film ever.
Yeah, but they're quite good-looking characters.
Brilliant.
It's like a contemporary romance set in space.
Oh man.
So I thought I'd watch Firefly all these years ago because I thought people were saying if you like Battlestar Galactica, and I watched the first 10 minutes and I thought I can't deal with how low budget this is. Like, it's
so
really
cheesy, isn't it?
It's
so
cheesy
as well.
It is
unreal.
I know. I was the same when we started watching it. It was only because so many people that I knew through YouTube had said it was amazing.
Yeah,
I think Brock and all of those people were saying it, and I was like, right, okay, I better give it a fair shot. So I'll at least watch episode 1.
Yeah. So I mean, I will admit it's completely cheesy. It's really low budget and poorly done.
Oh, but it's brilliant.
Every episode is completely predictable.
Yeah, but it's great.
But yeah, it's really nice. It's just fun. You know, they're nice characters. Nothing's particularly imaginative. You know, it doesn't really matter that they're in space. It's not particularly, but they're just nice and it's just fun.
Yeah,
so I'm really enjoying it, and it's making me really want to pick more sci-fi up. So I was looking into what people say if you like Firefly, books to read like it, and people were saying the Expanse series. So Eleanor was saying we might try.
Leviathan Wakes.
Yeah,
I've read the
I've
first
got that.
3.
people were saying
You
that
really
the
enjoyed them,
first
didn't you?
one isn't so much like Firefly, but once you get
First
into it,
one-
it is a bit.
The first one is quite crimey. This is one of those examples where I say like it's sci-fi, but it meets crime because there's a
Okay.
big mystery in it. I think it's quite a fantastic like solar system. I mentioned it in my LGBTQ plus video
Mhm.
because the third one, which I just read and I loved, I think is my favorite in the series so far. Fantastic representation of different types of people from everywhere. It's just crazy how good the representation is. But the first one, I liked it a lot, but I didn't love it and I didn't immediately continue with the series. And I think that I would always say the second and third are way better. But I think it's worth reading still because it sets up a lot for then what happens later.
Yeah,
It's
there's
one of
quite a
those
few.
ones where I'm like, I think there's 9 now. I think the 9th one just came
that's
out.
Commitment.
So yeah, they're all quite long, but they're really easy reads, and I audiobooked a lot of them, so I'd recommend that.
Excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning there.
Good way to go.
You bored her.
No, I'm just looking at my.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm out.
Sydney's asked me if I've read I can never say this, the Imperial
Rat.
and I keep considering it because I think it sounds pretty good, but no, I haven't yet. So I haven't
read
tried
what?
I have.
the you know the
Ancillary Justice
yeah,
by Anne Leckie.
I haven't read those, but I keep considering those.
I've got them on my shelf.
I tried it
and also-
and I DNF'd it, and I don't DNF many books, so it wasn't for me.
I think you're implying there that I'm not going to like it.
I don't think you will like it. I don't think either of you will like it. But I don't think Eleanor will like it in particular. I think Mercedes, you might like it a bit more because it is quite character heavy, I think. But
Yeah, maybe not then.
it's
Sorry, I
quite-
can't
it's
stop
quite
yawning.
technical. That one I would say is a bit more like technical because a sentient AI character in the very beginning, and it's quite laid out and how it sort of begins. But I think I didn't read that much before I gave up, if I'm honest. So I'm sure it gets a lot better.
Is Nine
But,
Fox Gambit like that?
Well, it's not a sentient AI, but it's also not one I enjoyed that much. I liked
That
bits
is really
of it,
complicated.
but it's not
What
so much
about,
that it's
the
complicated, it's that it
three-body
just doesn't
problem?
tell you anything. It's like,
It's a 3-body problem sci-fi.
yes, but I like the 3-body problem because that one was a kind of technical one that I still really understood, even though it's quite technical, because I think it's explained pretty well. So I think
That
that
might be a
one
good
was
one then.
one I enjoyed a lot, actually. And it's a translated one, so that's also cool. I do need to read the second one, though, because I DNF'd the second one, but I want to retry it.
I've heard people say the second wasn't great, but now they're saying the third is.
Well, that's because it was translated by a different translator.
Yeah.
And then the third one was translated by Ken Liu again, who did the first one. And I love Ken Liu, so, you know, he's great.
Why didn't he translate the second one? Was he just being lazy?
He
or
was
something?
busy, wasn't he?
He was really busy at the time, so
Writing his own book.
yeah, he was releasing his own one, I think. So,
So
I
now
think
he's
that's
screwed
fair.
everyone over and made
Well,
another.
I mean, it might not be that. I think I've spoken to a lot of Chinese people because it's from China originally, and they all said that the second one works really well in Chinese, and maybe it's just not one that translates that well into English because of what happens in it. It's quite like Chinese hierarchies and things. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think translates to the Western culture, rather than that it's bad. And then also the fact that it's different translators, so it's got a different feel. And then apparently each of the books in the series are just totally different in how they're written, which is intended by the author. So with all of those things, there may well be one book in the series you don't like, but apparently as a whole, it's fantastic. So I do want to read them. I'm going to try again, and I don't do that very often. So I'm going to try again with the second one.
Well, maybe you could do it with us.
Yeah,
When have
read
I
the
signed
first
up for
one, and
this?
then you've just been nominated.
Sorry?
When have I signed up for this?
Oh, well, you know, you said you
don't
were
worry,
reside
Elizabeth,
it,
you
saying
can
you were to
definitely
reside
read
it.
I will
Ancillary
really.
Justice.
I'll-
Elizabeth thinks you'll like it.
Whatever.
There was something else. Oh, that was what I was going to ask you. I asked Eleanor this the other day about, how do you say it? The Rachel Bach
Back.
But
portrait.
Bach?
Have you read that, Eleanor? Caitlin.
I don't think
Sean.
you'd like them.
Is there too much
Fortune's
sexy
Porn.
time in it? Is that why you don't think I'm going to like it?
I haven't read it. I've got it.
It's romance heavy.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it's not the
Isn't it
sexy
YA?
times necessarily.
I don't mind
I don't
romance.
think you
I
like-
just
no,
don't
it's
like.
YA.
I
It's
don't.
not YA.
It's not YA.
Is it
I
not?
don't
I
like
really thought it
romance
was.
because I like that there was romance in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I liked that romance, and I liked it in the KJ series. I just don't like romance that's sexist or cheesy.
That takes over.
I think some people think it's a little bit cheesy. Like she does a lot of her motivations are for the romantic element on it. But I mean, I gave them all 5 stars. I think I loved them.
Yeah.
But that is
I think I'm gonna
because
like
they
them.
fit perfectly into what I like. Because I know that Yamini, I don't think Yamini liked them very much. I think she's forcing
okay.
herself to read a few more. Hold on. Oh, sorry, just getting told that my husband's going to bed. It's only 9:45.
What's
He
he
says
playing
that,
at?
but he'll still be awake at 1 watching YouTube. What he means is I'm going to go and laze about in bed with my iPad and my phone. And I know all of that from him just poking his head in and going,
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're married, isn't it?
we're in sync. Actually, it's our wedding anniversary on your birthday, Mercedes. Was it 2 days? I can't even remember the day we got married.
Well, you know which one's more important, don't you, Eleanor?
Yeah. You.
Hey.
Yeah, 5 years, I think, this year.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's about to
Whoa.
reach back. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I find it
I just
very
want
hard to
something
judge.
Firefly, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet-esque. That's what I want in my
I like
life.
the
Something
Rachel Zack.
happy.
They're a bit more of a cross between Firefly and like Jill Shalwell's Rape.
Oh, okay, they're quite heavy
But maybe
on it.
not quite so heavy. Well, I don't know. See, I can't tell what people think is heavy because I like romance.
Yamini
in
said
my
she
books.
liked them.
Oh,
She
did
just
she?
said, yeah, so I liked them. I just forgot what happened to try and read the third.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I thought you said. I thought Yamini said on her channel she wasn't as keen. They were sort of like a 3-star read or something.
Yeah.
I can't think of a sci-fi that I've read recently.
Feel
that you might
free,
like.
anyone in the comments, to give me recommendations for books that are like Firefly or The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, that are like not too cheesy, really good characters.
Caitlin, what about the Theatre of the Gods one?
Not necessarily action-packed. I'd
Theatre
rather
of the Gods
focus
is
on...
just like mad. It's
Is it
so
mad?
good, but it's totally mad. I would say Theatre of the Gods is more like Terry Pratchett and
Oh, I don't like Terry Pratchett.
Douglas Adams. So
Don't like
I
Douglas
don't
Adams
think
either.
that's I don't think that's your cup of tea.
Okay.
I don't like comedy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more like satirical comedy sort
Don't
of
Yeah.
like
stuff,
anything
so.
that's happy.
No.
Yeah, she just
Gotta
likes
be
depressing
miserable.
rubbish.
No, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet's happy, and I really
Yeah,
loved
that's
it.
true. It's got some sad bits, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay,
I can't recommend.
we've had a
I'm not so
question.
good. Okay.
The good old question that you gotta answer. BookTube advice for starting channels or not?
I haven't got any.
Oh, sorry. What was that? So, advice
All
for
this
what?
time we've learned nothing. How do you
Advice
start a
for-
BookTube channel?
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah,
I
Whose logo's that? The trainers?
Nike.
Yeah, Nike.
Just do
would
it.
say just start. Even if you don't want to upload, I would say just get into the habit of like filming. Like I just film on my iPad, and just get into the habit of filming yourself talking about what you like. Finish a book, stick the camera on, and just chat to yourself about what you liked about it, and then
I think the thing to
do it a
remember is
bit,
there's
and then
no
just
right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah,
It's whatever
exactly.
you feel like you want to say, and there's never enough, in my opinion. Like I don't think
No.
we've got enough booktubers. I don't think we've got enough people doing it, and there's
Right.
always something new that you'll say that someone else won't, and that's great. So
and
if
also
you
it
want
doesn't
to
matter
do
if
it,
you're
do
saying
it.
the same stuff because
Exactly.
you're just
So
reaffirming. So I
Yeah.
think
someone who may not have found someone else's channel might find your channel, and that's great as well.
but just
So
yeah, you're right. Be
I think
yourself
it's well
is the
worth
biggest
just
thing.
going for it.
Because I will watch people that I feel like are putting on a bit of an act, but after about 1 or 2 videos, I'm just like, you can
Yeah.
sense it when they're not being themselves, and it's all a bit like,
Yeah,
hi,
I think-
hi, yeah. Ooh, ooh." I just find it
I think
tiring.
at first you're always really nervous, and I think Mercedes, you did a video about this recently, didn't you? Where
Yeah,
you linked
yeah.
your like
Which
first
is
ever video.
hilarious. It's hilarious. I'm like this.
Yeah,
This is me, my first video. Hi guys, my name's Mercedes and I've started this booktube channel and here's one of the books. I'm like
It's
completely
amazing,
dissing
though.
myself.
It's a really
Well, I'm the same though.
comfort zone
Actually,
experience.
I think
isn't it?
my first video is
Yeah.
not bad, to be fair, in what I was saying. It's just the way I was. Yeah,
Mine are
was
good.
really shy but yeah, you just got to go for it. I just put it out there. I was like, well, if no one likes it, at least I know that I've
And no,
kept a record of what I'm reading and I'm chatting, and
Yeah.
maybe someone will find it and chat with me. And when I started my channel, I was a huge watcher of other people's channels, so I was already kind of part of the community. I was already watching live shows and commenting, and that was something I did a lot already. So people who already had channels, although there weren't as many back then, kind of knew me. And then when I started, like, some of them realized that I had a channel and came over, and it's a nice community 99% of the time. So I think you're
definitely
getting
up your level.
And the other 1%
like,
is me.
Yeah.
Oh, you definitely up your level of like enjoyment and the way you can connect with people. Like I was like you, Kate, and I watched a lot of people, and then I felt like I couldn't get to that next stage of. I felt like I couldn't get to that next stage of like being part of the community or being friends with someone or having those conversations on a bit more of a deeper level until I sort of put myself out there like they were.
I agree.
I think it's a lot easier to make friends when you have a real person in front of you making a video, and you can connect with them, you can see their mannerisms, you can see how they get excited, like you can see the glint in their eyes when they're really excited, or you can see that they're like hating a book when they get so passionate that they're like, I love that. I love the sort of craziness of seeing that, but I don't like it when it's fake, and you can totally tell when it's fake. So you've just got to be yourself. 100%.
Yeah.
And don't worry, like if you only put one video up a month,
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at
because
all.
People will still watch, and you'll still chat to people, and you'll still have a way to comment and stuff. It depends. If you want to take that step and like make more, it's not solid friends, but I think, like you say, it's a bit like internet dating. Like you can only chat to someone via the internet without meeting them in person before you can take it to the next level. Oh, I love my little thing. So it's the same. You can't like we would never all three be friends if we didn't all have channels in that way, because I think we wouldn't.
I was quite scared of Mercedes when I first started my channel, because she was the only one who I still watch who was around when I started my channel. I don't watch anyone else who I used to. And I was quite scared the first time she commented on one of my videos, because I was like, oh my God,
Hunger Games.
Like, huge YouTuber has commented on one of my videos. This is like crazy. Not that I idolized you as much, but I was more like, oh my God, this is the first person.
Don't worry, we don't look at you like that anymore. We don't look at you like that anymore, Mercedes.
Yeah,
we know
now you're just no one. But that's true. You kind of idolize people a little bit when you're not doing it yourself. And then when you start doing it yourself, then you think, oh, actually, they're real people. And when you start talking to them in person, or, having proper conversations rather than just a comment here or there, it's like, you realize they're just like you. They're just someone who set up a camera in their bedroom because they're lonely and they've got no time to go out with friends. Like they're antisocial people or something. No, I'm being very stereotypical, but basically it's just, we all just one day decided we were going to talk about books to a camera, and we're weird like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think like overthinking it is the way to go, because I remember I just thought, I want to start a booktube channel.
Oh yeah, just go.
So I filmed the video the next day and I uploaded it, and I didn't ask anyone, or I just did it. And it doesn't allow you time to worry about it.
Some people are asking about editing, and they're scared of editing. And
I use iMovies. Yeah. I just use the free iMovies, and literally you put the video into iMovies, and then I press play at the beginning, and if I see a bit that I don't like, if I'm doing something, I just pause it, swipe it, and cut it. And I can edit a video really quickly. But then mine aren't whizzy,
don't you?
Yeah, and I also
it depends how much you want to edit as well. Some people just don't edit any of it. They just ramble, and that's fine. And some people want it really slick, and they want like fancy effects and stuff. all of it is really easy to teach yourself if you just Google a few tutorials.
Look at YouTube
it's all out
videos.
there. It's all out there.
I think it's just however you want to do it, because I watch channels that don't edit at all, and I like them just as much as channels that edit heavily or edit medium. I think for me it's way more about the personality and the books they're talking about than it is about the lighting. The one thing that I would say that I would struggle with would be the audio quality, rather than, and what I mean by that is not even volume, because you can just turn it up. But if there's something wrong with the computer and it's got like a big, like, I don't know, noise over the top of their voice, then I struggle with that, because I can't hear them.
Like air conditioning.
And I don't like background music.
Like that.
I don't like background music on videos.
I'm not a big fan of background music either.
When they're talking, I find it really distracting. Like, all I can listen to is the song.
I think it is honestly what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, a tiny bit is fine. I think, a webcam on a computer, it's not great quality, but it's great enough to do it. So if you've got a computer that has a built-in webcam, I film on my phone. Like, it's whatever you've got available to you. I know Mercedes is a poncy person who's got a big camera, but we're not all like that. I just film on my phone.
I had the camera. Yeah, I had the camera already. As I said before, I had the camera already because I did a course in photography at university in which I was shit at, and realised I had no patience for photography of any kind. So I just had the camera sort of sitting about, so it was sort of an excuse to use it, because otherwise it would have been sold, to be honest. But I don't think that to watch somebody talk about books at home, you need HD. I really don't think it matters. As long as you can hear what they're saying.
Definitely not.
I genuinely think you can film a video on really low quality, edit it, stick it up, and as long as and like what you're talking about, that's all that matters.
People
and anytime I do something different, it's more for my enjoyment.
It's got to be about you. You've got to be selfish with your channel. You've just got to do it for yourself, because if you're not doing it for yourself, you're not doing it for the right reasons, really.
And it's just about trying new things out. Like, if I've tried new things out with my camera or new ways of filming, it's more because I've wanted to challenge myself, because I've become bored of just setting the camera up and doing that, and I've wanted to just mix it up a little bit for whatever reason. But it's not because I felt a pressure that I've needed to do it. It's just like, I quite like to learn how to do picture in a picture.
Yeah, when I started my channel, I did a lot of that. I sort of did a lot of cut scenes to things, and I played around a lot, and then I did develop just my own way of doing things, and now all my videos have their own format. So I've got my introduction song that I have, and then I have a title that I always use the same font.
Did you know that Caitlin's introduction always focuses on a different part of her bookshelf?
I've noticed that. Yeah,
it does.
Fun fact.
Fun fact as well, don't have all those books. A lot of people ask me, I saw this book in your introduction, have you read it? No, not always. A lot of them are books that I've now got rid of without having read, so people asking me about them, I'm sorry I ignore your questions. It's because I don't know the answer.
At least you should tell them.
Well, I'm telling them now.
That's the worst thing about having a channel, if you don't respond to the comments.
You're one to talk.
Mercedes.
Mercedes.
I'm the only person that tries to respond to every single comment.
I do. I just fall behind.
I do. I just ignore things I don't know the answers to.
Yeah, and sometimes my comments aren't particularly, but I sometimes it doesn't warrant a response, but I want them to know that I read it, so I just put something so that, actually I don't know why I don't just do that.
That's what the thumbs up button's for.
Yeah, I like the little new thing with the heart that you can do.
I like that.
Then it comes up and shows that you've acknowledged it rather than just a random thumb up. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Behind the times, peeps.
Okay, shall we do the last books? I've got 2 still.
Yeah, because we need to wrap it up soon. I'm tired.
Okay. Next one I have is a Mothbox one. It is the one I'm also currently reading, I forgot to mention. Little Nothing by Marissa Silva. I have started it. I'm not that far into it, admittedly, but I have started it, and I love the writing so far. Obviously, Mercedes is probably the best person to tell you a bit more about it, because she put it in the box, and I'm only a chapter or so in, so you can take this one, even though it's my book. There you go.
So I actually filmed a review for this today, so
it's exciting. So you should be great.
Yeah, it's set in an unnamed Eastern European village, and it's about a elderly couple who want a child desperately, and when they have this child, she isn't what they expect physically, and so they decide to try some remedies on her to try and make her the
Oh, I
sort
haven't
of
got
child
to
they
that
want.
bit. That sounds even better.
And something happens because of that. Loads of other stuff happens, loads of stuff, but that's, I think, the most you need to know. But it's really a book about transformation, I think, girlhood. It's very heavy on feminist themes, and it really subverts fairy tales. So there's lots of references to fairy tales within it, but it does, I guess, the opposite of what fairy tales really do, in that the woman is the strong character who goes, fuck this
I'm
shit.
down with that, definitely. So also the writing is just genuinely like really beautiful. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm not one who looks out for I don't really look out for like beautiful writing. I know it's a thing you like looking out for. I don't really care about it as much, but when I do get it, I really appreciate it because I don't read very much of it. So I'm really enjoying the way it's written. So that is my next one.
I just found my cozy reading night TBR. It's quite exciting.
Thank you. Was it holding up your iPad or something?
No, it was hidden under a load of manga in the library.
So yeah, that is I've got one left now.
Okay, right, well, I'll be back in 1 second. I'm just going to go shut the door because the cat's trying to get in. So, Eleanor, you can go on your cozy reading night TBR.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think I've shown it on my channel, but I'll show you quickly. This is the one I was talking about the zoo.
Oh, yeah.
It's called The Zoo by Isabel Sharman at the London Zoo. I'm going to try and get through. I'm going to split it so that I do a different load of books every hour, because I think that works quite well, and I've seen people do it. So I'm going to read that non-fiction for an hour, and then
that's what I'm going to do, I think, as well.
Issues 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Attack on Titan manga, and
Have you read the first one? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did, enough to want to carry on, and these are all from the library, so I thought, well, I'll get them all while they're here. So I'm going to carry on with that and see how I get on.
I've heard good things about that one, actually.
Yeah, and I want to watch the Netflix. There's the show, the anime, so I want to watch that. And then number 5 of Fairy Tale, although I've got a feeling I haven't read 4, so I might have to wait on that one, but I might not get to that anyway. And then Contemporary Wildlife by Fiona Wood, which is a contemporary YA about these kids that go to a wilderness camp, I think it is.
Okay.
I don't know much about it. It says on the bottom, a tender,
funny
story of first love, good friendship, and going a bit wild. Yeah, you did.
Going a bit wild. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, in the wilderness.
Drama.
Yeah, and I think I'm just in the mood for that sort of stuff at the moment, so that's what I picked up for that one. Yeah, so that's my.
Did you ever read a book called This Lullaby by Sarah?
So this, no, I've got some Sarah Desson on my shelf, but I've never read her yet, I don't think.
Oh, because when I was like a teenager, I got that book free in a magazine. It was probably like Shout magazine or whatever was big back then. And I adored it, and I just read it so many times. And I think, does she still bring books out now, or like has she finished bringing books out?
She still brings books out. There's been loads recently. I think she brings out books quite regularly.
I haven't read any.
So it was a contemporary that I really enjoyed when I was back in my teen days.
I haven't read much contemporary.
That's good, James. James is probably quite pleased that his university power just went down, and he missed having to hear me talk about contemporary romance. And
he's probably gone out at the right time, James. It was actually saving you.
You didn't miss anything.
Right, who's next? You got one more?
I've got 2 to go. So is it me?
Oh, blimey! Yeah, you better go.
It's like 100 pages, and it's a flash fiction collection. It's short stories, but the longest is like 5 pages. Blight by Christine Ong Muslin.
Oh yeah, I've seen you talk about this one.
I think they're going to be sort of like Bizarro. So Caitlin and I read a book called Jagannath by Karen Tidbeck.
I really like that
short story collection. Didn't we? And I feel like this is going to be a similar sort of concept, but I believe all these stories take place in like a linked world, and it's split into sections, and one section is on animals, one section is on children, one section is called Instead of Human, and then one section is called The Age of Blight, which is the title. So yeah, and they're all called weird things like Zombie Sister, The First Ocean, The Wire Mother.
Flash fiction.
Like really short stories, like 3 pages.
Okay.
Just like
so it's just a short story that's even shorter.
Yeah, which
God, I
I
love
struggle
that.
with because I struggle to like have something to connect to. But
Yeah,
like
I
said,
think I
some of
struggle enough with
these,
short stories.
yeah, most of these are about 5 pages long.
I guess
so,
the idea of like the linked world maybe gives you a bit more to
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Perhaps it will. Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed. And I meant to read that last weekend and didn't. So I would like to get
playing
to
it.
it. You know.
Okay, shall I go? My last one. I
Yeah.
think I've seen this on someone's channel. I don't know if it was one of yours. It's
I had it on a pre-order video, but I haven't
okay, maybe it was that. The Jinn Falls in Love and Other Stories by Mavesh, Murad, and Jared Shirin. They're the editors, and then there's literally loads of people who are in it, including Nadia Okorafor, Neil Gaiman.
Of course. He
Claire
gets his
North.
way in every collection, doesn't he?
He's in everything. Claire North, who I've heard good things about actually. KJ Parker, Usman Malik, lots of other people as well. I'll just hold it up so that you guys can like see a little bit some of the people.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But yeah,
James Smythe.
Yeah.
there's loads of them.
James Smythe, didn't he write
Yeah,
those
James Smythe,
Australia
the Australia.
books?
Kirsty Logan is on there. So there's a lot of people basically, and it's about jinns or genies, I guess, whatever you want to call them. I think all of the stories relate to genies in some way. I don't really know anything more about it, but I loved the cover and I found it in Waterstones, and I was having a nice chat with the guy in there, and he was like tempting me to buy everything, so I picked this one up, basically. He was very nice.
Sounds
Just to show him up.
Probably married. Oh well.
Oh, I hope he's watching.
I don't think he was
Hi
watching.
guys. from
If anybody
Waterstones.
is watching and wants a date with Caitlin,
Her phone number is.
No. We aren't giving out my phone. But my Twitter. That's online for everyone. Oh.
send
yeah.
us a photo and me and Mercedes will vet you.
Yeah.
Oh God, could you imagine? I'd end up
Yeah.
with some right creeps.
Your booktube buddy picks your date. Oh, that would be quite a good one.
We could make a program about it. We could be millionaires.
Yeah.
I'm not
And they
sure.
have to woo her by bringing their favourite book.
Oh, that's a straight up judgment there, though. If it's
Yeah,
something
but
I
then
don't
at least
like,
you get
they're
rid of
not
them if
getting
they
past the door.
Right, who's got the last one? Mercedes, you've got the last one, haven't you?
I think Mercedes has one
Yeah,
more.
last one. The Clay Girl
I
by
want to read
Heather
this.
Tucker.
I
Yeah,
saw
that
you
one
talk
looks good,
about it.
actually.
It looks so
Yeah,
good.
so I put this in a video the other day where I pulled 5 books from my shelves that I thought were going to be 5-star reads, and this was one of them. And I just really felt like I've read 1 5-star book so far this year, which I think is pretty poor.
Just one.
I've only read 3.
One.
Only 1.
I've had about
And-
4, I think. 5.
I mean, to be fair, I've probably
Which
read way
is
less books than you
crazy.
guys. So I think I've read like 36 books so far this year, but I still
I'm
think
on
only 1
80-ish.
5 stars. Yeah, but I still think.
I might be on 84, I'm not sure.
I'm on 60 something, I think.
But 1 out of 35 is
That's
pretty
pretty
poor,
good.
right?
Well, I suppose you're quite critical. I'm being a lot more critical this year with my 5 stars as well.
Yeah, and I think I'm being even more critical.
Yeah, so maybe.
I think perhaps. I think every year I just get harsher.
Yeah, well, I think
which
I am
guess
as
is
well.
A bad thing.
Which I think is good, because if something
Because you're
does
reading
stand
more, aren't
out
you,
as a
though?
5-star, then it's like amazing. So
Yeah,
I think if
and
you're
that's the
reading
thing.
more, you're bound to be harsher, aren't you? Because you're being
Yeah.
exposed to more stuff.
Exactly, and there's more things to compare it to. Every year, there's more things to think. Well, is this as good as that 5-star book? And if it isn't, you know.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, but I'm hoping this is going to be a 5-star. It's not got tons of ratings on Goodreads, but it's got like 4.20, which I will say for a non-fantasy
Yeah.
book is high. Like usually, I think on Goodreads, the like 4.20s are usually reserved for epic fantasy.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, it's
I don't
hard.
think it's very.
I think Golden Boy, didn't that have something like that? The one that I
Maybe.
book buddy
Yeah, but it's, do you not
YAs,
think it's
I
rarer?
reckon.
it is very rare to get over like 4.03 or something.
Yeah, especially for like just like literary fiction. I think it's quite rare unless it's
Yeah,
like
literary
a
fiction I think
classic.
divides people a lot more, so I'm surprised
Yeah.
that it's got that.
I wish
I
that was
think-
something you could look up actually. Can you look up like everything over a certain rating? Oh no, Golden Boy's only got 4.07. See?
You can put your books in order of rating, can't you? Average
Your
rating.
books, but can you put books?
Oh no,
in
I don't think you
general,
can. But I guarantee you, like YA
should do
books, fantasy books
Mm.
have on average I think people are
More
more
than 4
generous.
stars usually.
More generous than they are with.
Yeah,
If
I
a
think it's
fantasy
maybe
book
they're
has
more of an investment.
3
aren't
point
they?
something, I often don't read it.
Yeah, because normally they're always over
That's
4.
bad to me. So I'm like, anything in the 3s or less, probably
Yeah.
not going to read it unless someone I know has recommended it to me. Then I'll give it a try. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do trust
That's
Goodreads
interesting.
quite a lot, I must be honest.
Yeah, I quite
I
quite
do.
like reading the negative reviews on Goodreads.
Oh, yeah, I
I
like
find that
negative
helps me
reviews now.
more than the positive. So when people
Definitely.
say that they don't say negative things on their channel, I always think that's completely your call if you don't want to do that. But actually, I find negative reviews really helpful
Definitely.
because if I'm watching somebody's channel who I trust, then it's more helpful to me if they go, I didn't like this, than if they say I loved this, because if they said they didn't like it and I like the sort of thing they like, then I might decide not to pick it up and it saves me time and money. Whereas them saying they liked it might just validate
Something you already do.
presumption I already had, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, this book is about a young girl who, I think it says, the dad smiles at his daughters, raises a gun and blows off his head. And she's got quite a few sisters and they all get sent to different people to live with. And I think there's some sort of magical element to it, but I don't know if it's just like in her imagination, because she has an imaginary friend that's a seahorse, hence the cover.
Nice.
And it's supposed to be, it says coming of age in the sexual revolution and drug culture of the 1960s in Toronto. And yeah, it's just about her life growing up. And I read the first few pages and it's so beautifully written. And I'll just show you this because it's quite cute. Let me try and find it. There's random seahorses popping up along the bottom. I don't know how well you guys are going to see this, but can you see that?
Oh,
Is it not? It's not a
that's
flick
cute.
book, is it? Because they did that in the Soul of an Octopus.
I think perhaps it is. I think he gets further up. Oh no, it just moves. So some pages have his tail.
Is that a nice pencil drawing of him?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like the egg book. I want it.
Oh god.
So
stop getting on about the eggs, you two.
We can't have a video with us
excited.
without mentioning the egg book, Eleanor. It was
Find a new book.
I will. The guy in Waterstones also recommended me a nice graphic novel that's kind of like the egg book.
What is it?
It's called Susceptible. It's about some woman's life story, but it's got the same sort of style of like pencil drawings and stuff. So
I don't mind pencil drawings. I just
I
can't
love
stand
it.
a whole book with just fucking eggs.
yeah, it's not as bad as the eggs. It's got
It
a
wasn't a
story.
If
story.
you guys don't know what in case people don't know what we're talking about,
We won't know what we're talking about at all. How would they know that?
We were book shopping one day and Caitlin and I stumbled across, I guess, like a zine, like a tiny little zine. It was this sort of size and it was probably only 20 pages long. And on each page it had a hand-drawn egg and each of the eggs almost looked like their own little world. Caitlin might have it there.
I'm gonna have a look. Give me a
And
moment.
it just had sort of a one-sentence description of what type of egg it was. Caitlin and I fell in love. Paid way too much money. It was effectively like a 20-page pamphlet, and Eleanor thought it was awful.
I just thought it was pointless. I mean, I didn't actually. That's not fair. I didn't think it was pointless. I thought it was very artistic, but it wasn't a book, was it? It was just some artwork.
No, it's just art, but it's just cute.
I found the egg book.
One of my favourite ones is the one where it's like an ocean. Can you get that one up?
Oh, let me sit back on my chair.
Taking requests. Now we've had to bring the actual egg book into this video. I might have to go to bed.
You mean the
What's the artist called?
Ali Oldfield.
There you go. If you want to get the egg book,
Don't get the
send
egg
it to
book.
Eleanor.
Don't do it.
Or a different one.
Yeah, love them all. Look at them. They're so cute.
They are adorable.
Yeah, but did you tell us how much you paid for that book?
How much was it?
How much did I pay for that book?
I think it's on the back. I think it was about
more than
£7.
that.
Yeah, I've taken it on.
I think it was $6.99.
Was it
I
$6.99
like this
worth
one.
of enjoyment?
Yeah. Look how I've got it out so many times since.
Every minute.
I
of
didn't even know where it was.
I did. I went straight for it. It's inside a packet. Protected. Look at them. Aren't they gorgeous?
Oh,
Little eggs.
Yeah.
Eleanor's going to quit now. She's going to leave. So there
Shall
you
we
go.
all hold our TBRs up?
No, because I cut half of it down.
Oh, do we have to? That's like a challenge.
I'll hold up. Since we've been on here, I've whittled it down to 4.
Have you?
We have got the cozy reading night, so that is going to be my 4.
Oh God, I don't think I can hold all mine.
Oh, plus the book I'm reading at the moment, so I'm going to 5.
Wait,
There you go.
I'm not
I'll
going to
do
get
the
through all these.
sensible
This
thing.
is going to take me like a week. Those two will probably get through them plus 10 more during the weekend, but I won't.
I've got to get through these by
I don't
next
think I will.
Thursday so that I'm ready to start Bath books when we go to Bath.
Yeah, that is true.
Wait, I'm not coming to Bath.
You need to buy yourself a book spa voucher and then you can
Yep.
join the book spa club.
Book
Yeah,
spa.
I do. Well, I've never been to Bath. It's
No,
meant to be
I
like
haven't.
super nice, isn't it? So
Well, you can come next time, Caitlin. It was
Sorry,
remiss
guys.
of us to
I'll
not get you coming. We shall get you next time. Blimey.
that's
Do you
ridiculous.
know what's
Yeah.
ridiculous is you probably read that.
Oh, well, if I had all the time, then I could. I've got the cozy reading night actually, and that's going to be for reading. I was going to say I'm busy, but I'm busy.
I know, I keep thinking that.
That's all right.
It's reading, yeah.
That's okay. I'm going out for a meal tomorrow to celebrate getting my new job. And
Yay!
that's
Caitlin got a new
about what
job.
I'm doing.
Yay!
I got promoted.
As my
I'm now-
personal slave.
How dare you? If you were actually going to pay me to work on Mothbox, I'd be down. No, I'm assistant desk editor now.
Yay!
Assistant desk editor. I've moved up on the ladder slightly, which is great.
It's awesome. Awesome work.
Good stuff. Yeah.
I've got a busy weekend, so I'm not going to get much reading done. I've got a day with the Matilda tomorrow. We're going to see a show with puppets, which I've heard is very good.
Oh, okay.
Not Avenue Q because she's a bit young.
Yeah.
And then Sunday I've got to do some college work because I'm doing a college course online and I need to do some work on it. So the cozy reading night and tomorrow night I'm home alone because Jamie's going out for a curry. So I've got those evenings to read. That is the plan.
Exciting stuff. I actually might
I've
be
got friends coming around
to read.
tomorrow night, but that's it.
We
that,
might
I'm
be all right
free.
then.
Right. Well,
Shall we
let's
do
go
a quick,
get reading.
have we
I feel
got
like
any
I'm-
questions and then we'll go?
I
do a
haven't
quick
got my thing up
question round.
anymore.
I
I've
don't
got
think
mine.
we have.
I
Is
don't
everyone
think
else
People are
gone
just
to bed?
responding. No, people are just responding to.
they're having
what
their
we
own
say.
chat now. It's all gone.
Oh, look, everyone likes the fucking egg book.
That's a very pretty egg. It is. We should have got it for Eleanor for Easter.
Oh, why didn't we?
No, thank you.
Damn it. Missed an opportunity there, didn't we?
Yeah.
I never know
No.
how far behind the people are. I did only mention the eggs recently, so I guess they can't be that far behind us. Some people.
Oh, sorry,
start-
Yamini. I don't mean to hate on. I don't mean to hate on the eggs. I like eggs. I mean,
Egg bully,
they're
egg
good.
bully, egg
They're
bully.
good to eat. I think it's just because I'm not very appreciative of art when the
True art.
I'm not very appreciative of art if there isn't a story. So like graphic novels I like because there's the story that is also in there for the artwork, so therefore I appreciate the artwork, but I wouldn't go to an art gallery and be very good at,
Nor would I though.
unless it's extremely controversial, like sculptures and stuff that get you talking, because I don't feel
Do you
like
mean naked people?
Yeah. Obviously she does.
What do you mean? Well, I know sculptures. I mean, like when you go to the gallery where they laid oil over the whole of the floor somewhere, or
See, I don't
the
think that's
sharks cut in
sculpture. I
half
think
or
that's
whatever.
The shark cut in half?
What do you mean a shark cut in half?
Who's the guy that does the picture?
Do you mean the sort of plasticine things? I forget their name.
No, like in the art gallery where they've got a horse and a shark
Yeah,
that are
that's
like.
it's called like plasticine or something. That's the technique. Yeah, I
It's a real
saw that
one, though,
guy.
isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a real one. It's just how
Yeah.
they like make it stay fresh. I
Like
guess.
autopsied or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty grim, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, those sort of
I went
things, because
to
you
a
can
big
walk in
exhibition.
between it, can't you? You can walk in between the sections of it and stuff. But that sort of stuff I find interesting.
cool.
But like art galleries where there's paintings, like the Louvre and stuff, was
Oh, I'd
totally
hate-
lost
I'd
on
hate-
me.
Yeah, no, that's boring. I took history of art and it's boring.
When that's what I found the egg book was like. There was no story. I just
Yeah.
found it a bit like, what? If
Well-
one of those eggs was on a greetings card, like a thank you card or something, I'd probably appreciate it. But as a book that you paid £7 for,
Well, it's not a book, it's a zine. They're like artsy.
oh, okay, just
They're a
make
bit
it, make it
hipster.
sound
Really
better.
hipsters.
Make yourself feel hipsterish. Call it a zine. What it really was just a load of greeting cards, front covers put together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not very appreciative, I'm afraid. It's more the fact you paid £7 for it, I think.
I paid
made money
15
out of
quid
it. I
for
throw
two
money on the
zines that I got in
floor.
there the other day.
If it was £2, I would have, you know. But I suppose that's what
Not-
you value, is how you value art.
It was just
isn't it?
too cute to leave on the shelf, Eleanor.
Yeah, it was. It's
It was just
adorable.
too cute.
It
I've
was
got
Could not
quite
take
a
it.
few little theme things.
Have I ever told, quickly before we go, one last little story. Have I ever told you guys about my art experience where I went to,
I hate
don't
it when
even
you
know
say that.
what
Have
it
I ever
was.
told you about? Oh, isn't it going
I
to be
probably
gruesome?
have. It's not gruesome. There's, I forget her name, she's famous. You can watch her on YouTube. People in the comments might know. She did a video on YouTube where it's called like meeting X amount of people in a day. And she sits in a room, lady in a red dress, that's what it's called. In a red dress at a table in a massive room, and people line up and they just go and sit opposite her, and they just stare at her and she stares at them, and then they get like 2 minutes and then they walk away and another person comes in. And it was this big art thing about like how many people she could look at, and like this intimate moment of like looking into the eyes of a stranger while not saying anything or anything like this.
That sounds
And
creepy.
and it got quite famous because a man who had a relationship with her like many years before turned up without her knowing, and she's been sitting there completely stone-faced the whole way through this, what do you call it, performance. And
Performance
when
art,
he
yeah.
walks, and when he walks in, he sits down opposite her and she starts to cry, and she leans out and holds his hands, and then he gets up and leaves. And you can watch it on YouTube. I think it's called like Lady in a Red Dress meets whatever. But anyway, she did something in one of the parks in London, and one of my friends was like, oh, she's brilliant, we've got to go. And I thought, oh, this sounds rubbish, not my thing at all, but I'll go. It was free. And basically we walked in, we had to leave all of our personal items, including watches, phones, anything, in a locker. And then we went into this big open room where there was a little platform in the middle, and people were just walking around in complete silence. You were told you're not allowed to make a noise, and you're walking around in silence. And there was these headphones lying around, and I thought, well, maybe there's some sort of like drum and bass music through the headphones, right, to make this a bit more lively. So after plucking up the courage, I went and
put them on.
I went and put the headphones on, and no, they were noise cancelling headphones.
What?
So it was just so you could experience the silence even more.
I thought you were going to get into trouble because that was the art.
No,
The
no.
headphones.
And then it gets even worse. I may not come across with this because I have a YouTube channel. Trust me, these two will know I'm incredibly socially awkward in real life. Not with my friends, but with like anyone who I don't know. So I like hate going in. For example, I hate going in a shop, like a small independent shop, where there's just like, we went into a shop and we went on holiday together, and these two were like chatting to this lady about all her glass artwork, and I just couldn't even believe how uncomfortable I felt. These two were like loving it, like chatting to her about how her art was good. I was just like, I can't believe we're chatting to this random woman. Like, get me out of here. Like, that to me is like social just so I'm in this silent room with hundreds of people just walking around, and then this girl who works there comes up to me, takes hold of my hands and takes me and puts me on the platform, and just stands there holding my hands with her eyes closed. And I was like, I was sweating like anything. I couldn't believe what was happening.
Touching me.
It was awful. And then I managed about 40 minutes, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And then I saw at the corner of my eye there was another.
You were there for 40 minutes?
Yeah, because my friend weren't leaving, and you're not allowed to talk. So what was I supposed to do?
Well,
I couldn't go up and go,
sign
I'm
language.
off.
Walk out.
Yeah.
So
Get off my
I saw it at the corner. Yeah, but I thought maybe I'm being like, I don't know, judgmental. I'll give it a go. So
you're so nice. I would have just got off.
I went. I was sitting there, I was standing there judging everybody in the room. Because I was hating it. And then I saw at the corner of my eye there was another room in which people, I'm not going to do an enactment of it because it was embarrassing. People were standing in a line holding hands with their eyes closed and blindfolds on, and they were just walking across the room and taking like really giant steps, and it was silence. They weren't talking to one another, were bumping into one another, but
It
the whole
sounds
point
like
in
a horror story. Can I just say,
Yeah,
like,
or a
all of
cult
this
or
sounds
something.
absolutely like crazy to me.
Yeah, but it was the point in it. My friend lectured me afterwards and told me what did he call me, like some sort of like uncivilized, judgmental, like whatever. The point in it was just
it sounds like a weird cult. I agree.
Yeah. Basically, you were supposed to let go of all forms of judgment and holding on to real society, and let all of that strip back.
I think you were being initiated.
It was supposedly a form of like communal meditation. So rather than feeling at your most calm when you're separate from people,
It sounds like a
accepting people
sci-fi
who
book.
they are, in
But it can only
silence.
be that if you're told that. Like if you're told in beforehand, this is
Yeah.
what we're hoping to achieve, then you can. But if you're just feeling uncomfortable because you don't know what's going on,
I felt awful.
yeah.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
I went and sat after 40 minutes. I went and sat in the like little locker area, feeling miserable because I couldn't believe what I'd just been through. And,
Oh, you
and
traumatized.
the lady who was famous and who'd organised this performance came out and walked through. And she came and sat with me, and she was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." But
You said, "I'm
no.
deeply moved
Yeah,
by
no,
this."
yeah. I was just like, "No, I'm
Did
fine."
you lie?
Terrified of her. She tried to put me in the back of the van or something.
Did you know it was her?
So yeah, it was 100% her, and then she went back in the room to be silent with everyone, and then my friend came out like an hour later. I had to sit and wait for like an hour in the locker room.
Oh my God.
She probably just thought you were really touched by it all.
Yeah, it like
She probably wrote on her blog like, "Oh, this one girl, she was so moved she
Yeah.
had to leave."
yeah. But my friend was like, "Oh, I just can't believe it." I was so bored as well. Like imagine the boredom. 40
minutes on a platform, yeah.
in silence, and
No
nobody's
books.
doing anything. Everyone's just literally like this.
That honestly sounds like hell to me.
You could
So,
have, you
all
need to
I
get
was
some little
doing-
Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah, I was just judging everybody because I had nothing else to do. So I was just looking around, being like, "I wonder what their story is," and I was like imagining how people knew each other and stuff. So I was so
Telling
bored.
yourself some stories.
But my friend said like that was against the point because the whole point is you're not supposed to judge people and all
Oh
these
my
people.
God.
Surely the point is to get over from it what you want. Isn't that what art's about? To see what you want from it? I don't know. Don't get me
Clearly
started.
not.
I'm rubbish at that. So we've
There you go.
diverged from books to eggs to art.
Yeah, so
There
that
you
is
go.
my
We've covered
experience.
pretty
with
much
modern
everything
art.
you could possibly want in this live show.
I feel
Yeah.
I'm ready
I
for
called
bed
it a Friday
now,
read,
girls.
but I'm not sure that was really very apt.
No.
No. It's just a this
Friday
is just our
intense
Friday
discussions.
chat. You're just getting
This
an
is
in-depth
kind of
look
like
into
what
our
we
Voxer
do
chats.
on Voxer all the
Yeah.
time. Just
Yeah.
chat about random rubbish.
Yeah.
It's great though. It's good fun. Oh. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I don't think we've
Thank you
had
for
any
having
more
us.
questions that I can see, so we'll probably sign off here. And it's been good fun. So
Yeah, and congratulations on your 7K and your job
Thanks.
promotion.
I know, all the congrats.
All the
Yeah.
congrats.
well, thank you to all the people who've watched and joined in on the comments as well. That's been really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been really
good
good.
fun.
Lots
Thank
of
you
chats.
very much.
It's been lovely. So we're going to go
Yeah, but
now.
I have to say, have you
Oh,
seen,
no,
just
we're not,
before you
no, we're not.
leave, no, have you seen that people have decided that their mission in life now is to create a Hallmark egg card and send it to me?
Yes,
Brilliant.
we've won.
I don't hand out my address.
Twitter, send us screenshots.
Yeah.
Screenshots of eggs. Yeah, if I
Go
get
for
eggs
it.
on Twitter. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Just loads of eggs. I'm going to do that as well now. Does that count
Instagram
as
some eggs.
cyberbullying? We don't endorse
No,
bullying.
Probably.
No, I don't find it bullying because it's fun.
Eleanor doesn't mind, so it's okay.
I don't mind. Just attracting
Okay.
attracting more attention to my loathe of eggs.
And on that note, we're going to go. So, bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye bye bye.
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 Wait, let me find the button.